to trust Joe Murray. First time I ever met Joe Murray was at a Hoosier.
Ago, the Celtics went to Atlanta and won Game 4 to take a 3-1 lead. Last year they went to Miami and won Game 4 to take a 3-1 lead. Tonight, the third time is the charm, and the Celtics will go back to Boston trying to close it out on Tuesday night. They take a 3-1 lead. Again, they beat the Orlando Magic by a final of 107-98.
Oh, welcome in 98.5, the Sports Hub of Joe Murray. Woo, fighting off some allergies. I was fighting him yesterday with Paul Perillo, but I didn't want to miss a show with him. And then today I thought you would get 4 hours of just me, no calls, but it looks like we are up and running tonight. Skaz is here. Trent, our intern, is here as well, and we have a full show on deck tonight. We got guests, we got games, we got it all. And we're here until 11 o'clock, 617-779-0985. That's the number if you want to jump aboard. And, well, you just heard the end of game there. Celtics winners last night. And, that was one of the most interesting games I think we've seen since a year ago. So let's be real for a second here. I wanted to throw some validation out there. Let's be real. The Magic have two good players. The Celtics have struggled to play comfortably. It's been physical, and at times, they've been thrown off their game. It's gotten chippy. Orlando has to play this way in order to stay in it. And it's worked through 4 games. I'll validate that. But please validate also the Celtics have a 3-1 series lead because they're just better than Orlando and have found other ways besides shooting the 3 to win games. So, validate that. Please. The loss in Game 3 was 13 turnovers and 26 points. They still lost by 2. They didn't get much from Sam Hauser, but he kept him in it in the first half in Game 4. They've needed another ball handler with Tatum and Brown having turnovers in Game 3. They went to Peyton Pritchard. Although he's done nothing offensively, he was really great yesterday, overall. They had 6 turnovers through 3 quarters yesterday. But it was Brown and Tatum that closed it out. Brown struggled early on. He didn't look right. Defensively on Banchero, didn't look good, and his shot wasn't going down. But in the third quarter, he took over. And in that third quarter, Kristaps Porzingis started on the bench. He had 3 fouls. He needed a boost. But it was Jaylen Brown that set the tone in that third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, it was Jason Tatum. I hear this often. This is why I'm starting Celtics tonight. I know we'll get into the draft and other stuff. But the Celtics closed out a game on the road in a playoff game and got clutch performances by Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And so sometimes I hear, hey, one's playoff Brown. Where's Jason Tatum's clutch performances? I just want validation. I got to scream to get these allergies out of my throat. Validate Jason Tatum as clutch, please. Because that's what he was. 16 points in the fourth quarter. 9 for 9 from the free throw line. In games 3 and 4, he goes 37 points in both games. All I heard was, he's soft. Oh, Jaylen Brown's the toughest. Whoa. That's all I heard. Can you validate the man? Played a physical series. People tried to throw him off. Caldwell Pope's giving him cheap shots. But no, he decides to go to the line. 9 for 9 in the fourth quarter. 16 points in the fourth quarter. Please validate that. It was a clutch performance. Brown and Tatum took the game over. And yes, they're better than Orlando. They're better than Banchero. And they're better than Franz Wagner. Just another thing to throw out there. Score was tied at 91 with 4:18 to go. Jason Tatum, 9 points. The Magic, 7. Validate. We'll validate that it's been a physical series. I'll validate the Celtics have won games besides shooting the three. I'll also validate that not only Tatum, but also Jaylen Brown contributed in the win yesterday. Al Horford, and I don't want to do this comparison, but you know what? He's doing Kareem things at this age. And he was an awesome defender yesterday. Al Horford is the primary defender on Franz Wagner. 0 for 5, 1 block. On Paolo Banchero, 3 for 10, 2 blocks. He had 5 blocks in the game, something that hasn't been done since Kareem at the age of 38. All I ask for at this point, validate that the Celtics can find different ways to win. Validate it's been physical. Validate that in crunch time, Jason Tatum performed and Jaylen Brown has performed. When Tatum didn't play, it was Jaylen Brown. Here's the facts, everybody. Just the facts. When Jason Tatum's healthy and Jaylen Brown plays to his potential, nobody in the league can beat them. Nobody. But for the people that still want to say soft, not clutch, just want to remind you that Jason Tatum has done things that no player in NBA history has done in 2 games on the road, scoring 37 points with double-doubles, etc. It's never happened. So it hasn't been pretty. Have they made it harder on themselves than it should be? Yes. Is Orlando playing a style that's keeping them in the game? Absolutely. In the end, the top players perform. The top players are just better than Orlando. So, again, when I hear that the Celtics are soft and that Tatum is soft, do these games look like it's been soft? Have these games been physical? Just please validate them. Some people aren't. The path was too easy last year. Nope, that was too easy. They shoot too many threes. Okay, well, now they're not. All I'm saying is validate them. Series isn't over. We'll see what happens. No Drew Holiday again tomorrow. And a closeout game 5 at home. The Celtics were the best road team in the league this year. They lost a game on the road. Can they now come home against a desperate Orlando team and close the door? I think they will. I think they can. I think they'll win just by talent alone. But that's not the case in this series. The Celtics have changed the way that they played. It hasn't been front-running and shooting the three. It's been clutch, it's been timely, and it's been by their best players in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Just wanted to throw facts out there for the soft crowd, the not clutch crowd. They only shoot threes crowd. Not in this series. Validate them. We'll have more on this coming up here on the other side. That's my opening take. Validation. That's all I want. Validate them. 617-779-0985. A lot happened when the game was tied with 4:18 to go. We'll certainly get into that. Skaz is here. I listened to the Green Teamers yesterday. I was in there. I was in the chat. I was putting stats in and facts in. We'll share those coming up in just a little bit. We'll get into the NFL draft. Everyone loves the Patriots draft. Who could hate it? I don't know who could. Also, Red Sox are off tonight. We have a lot of fun in games. We have guests galore. Brian Barrett's going to join us from The Ringer. Bobby Manning just came in from Orlando. I think he got some confetti from when it fell from the Orlando Stadium after their 2-point win the other night. So we're here until 11 o'clock tonight. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray.
women today.
On the Sports Hub.
Tatum working behind Jaylen Brown. He's got a pretty good look at a three. Takes it and makes it.
Yeah, big mistake by Anthony Black there. Did not get out there on the switch on Tatum. Took advantage.
And Tatum was a half second late and reacting almost shocked that he actually had an open.
Right. Don't tweet at me. Don't give me your awful, terrible takes that I'm just going to dismiss constantly. Just call in and let's talk about it. Because I'm already getting tweeted about validation. So instead of being on the internet and just chatting back and forth with an unknown person that has no clue what they're talking about, just call in and we'll have a conversation. And then I'll put you in a body bag because you're wrong. So I've already gotten this one. Oh, by the way, Skaz, who is part of the Green Teamers, I saw you guys right after the game yesterday. How do you say Paulo's last name?
Bancaro.
It's Ben Caro.
Yeah.
Okay. I've always called him Ben Charo. Does it matter?
Maybe to him, yeah, but not to me.
Because like Tyler Hero.
Tyler Hero. Marshawn.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry it bothers everybody, but I'm not apologizing. And I'm not sorry. How about that? So, Skaz, I mentioned validation. We work all these shows. Every game, we work. We talk about this team. People think we green team. I'm not. We just work in fact. The other night, was it Friday night? What night was it? Friday night? I can't remember what it was. Where people were saying that Tatum wasn't clutch, and then we had to throw the clutch numbers in their face.
I mean, constantly. I think you could say that's just about any night, Joe. Okay. I think that's been a common discussion for a while, locally and nationally. I think that's something people say about Jason Tatum.
Would you say that the Game 4 win was catapulted by Jaylen Brown's third quarter and Jason Tatum's fourth quarter?
Yeah, I thought I was really impressed with Jaylen, and this is something I thought about after we did Green Teamers, but Jaylen in the first half, you could tell he didn't have it. He just wasn't, he's hurt. He's injured. He's playing hurt. And you could see it in the first half, but the way he was still able to impact the game in the second half, just finding ways to, be in the right spot or he was just playing, smart, good basketball for a guy that wasn't at 100%. And say what you want about Jaylen Brown, his efficiency, whatever you want to say. That's a guy I'm never going to question. He wants to be out there. He wants to win. He said, the night they drafted him, he'll go to war for this city, and he's done all of that since being here. And I thought that was a really underrated performance by him. And then, yeah, you mentioned Tatum in the fourth. He's the one doing the scoring, and the Magic are kind of a unique situation for the Celtics because of how they play defense, where normally everything they want to do is spread the ball, shoot the three. But because of how the Magic defend the three-point line, something you're not used to seeing is the Celtics going a little iso ball, giving it to Tatum and saying, go to work, take out their best player. And normally that's not a style of basketball I'm a giant fan of, but when it comes to the matchup against the Magic, that's a strength the Celtics have. The Magic have a team that is good at defending the three-pointer. They don't have a guy that can defend Jason Tatum. Not many teams do, if any. So Tatum going one-on-one ISO late, I thought that was a good idea. It's not something you're going to see a lot of, but in a situation like that against that team, I thought that was the right way to attack it.
I agree, and I think that the Celtics really only have two or three guys who can cover Ben Caro or Wagner. And I didn't know Horford was the guy, but he was. I didn't want Brown on Ben Caro earlier on because he got into foul trouble. And he showed it in the first half. And then Tatum got 3 fouls on him. And Joe stuck with him. Ben Caro's a beast. If he gets bigger and figures it out, he might already be a great player. And I hate comparisons, but it kind of reminds me of a young Andre Iguodala. And he's not a shooter by any means. Like they're ugly. Their shooting is bad.
They're afraid to take threes. Like
it's
a lot.
Bad.
The Celtics were daring them to take threes late in that game,
and they took them, and they were bad. Jonathan Isaac was like one of the worst threes I think I've ever seen.
Better than Tatum.
That's right. Remember that? Sorry, don't mean to go there. Okay, we go. Here I am
about
talking about all the shows now. Again, here we go. It's going to get brought up first thing tomorrow morning, right? Remember Jonathan Isaac was better than Tatum? Okay, yeah. No. All I want is to validate that Orlando plays a style, like you said, that doesn't allow the Celtics to – they defend the perimeter. The other thing they do is they don't allow the Celtics to get into transition. So what do the Celtics have to do? They have to play iso ball to get to the hoop. And what do? They get to the foul line. And not for nothing, but they made some adjustments to get Kristaps Porzingis involved, where Porzingis has all the matchups. I don't know. Is it him? Is it physical? Is he working too hard? I think he just needs to see the ball go in the hoop a couple of times. Like the dunks are there, everything off the backboard's there. It's all the hook shots and the mini stuff. He just can't. He's struggling.
Well, and I got to give Jay Stu credit because he was all over this last night. And I thought Porzingis was good yesterday, but the foul trouble really, stopped his momentum. But what Porzingis has become with the Celtics is this 3-point guy, this kind of top of the key, pass out, pass in. They use him a little bit everywhere, but he's a guy that they kind of will use in the middle to kind of facilitate things. The Magic are forcing him to kind of run to the rim. They're forcing him off the 3-point line and closer to the basket, which you'd say for a 7-3 guy is good. But the way the Magic are doing it, they're designing it so Porzingis is kind of on the move, or if he gets you stationary on the block, they're throwing multiple guys at him or just hacking him. So I thought Porzingis was good yesterday, but the foul trouble ruined his momentum. But I thought that was a much better Porzingis game than we'd seen the first two games or first 3 games of the series.
May I also say that was a championship closeout, or am I embellishing too much?
No, I thought, Al Horford, Tatum, Brown, like those are those guys are championship level. Derek White made some big plays late. Like that's why they're out there. Peyton Pritchard didn't score. I think he had a goose egg in that game. And, he's not going to be on the floor in that situation if Drew Holiday's healthy, but he's a ball handler. He was out there. So, I thought Missoula, we had a lot of criticism for Missoula after they lost the other night, rightfully so. I thought Missoula made some really good adjustments in this game.
Agreed. And the third quarter is, again, I know they kind of struggled, but they put it together. And, again, I want to credit Jaylen Brown for this one. So this is what I'm getting for feedbacks, guys. So you want us to validate Tatum, who shot 10 for 25 from the game, playing okay down the stretch against an Orlando team that barely made the playoffs, Joe. Tatum's clutch now all of a sudden.
No, he's been clutch for years, actually. But, yeah, I thought that was a clutch performance. That's all we said. Is 16 points in the fourth quarter bad? 9
for 9 from the free throw line bad?
I do think that was a big thing where they mentioned it on the broadcast. I think they said he was 0 for 4 from the line in game 1, and he hasn't missed a free throw since. That's championship medal right there.
Please, this is not my opinion. But he scored more points than the Magic in the final 4 minutes of the game.
I would say that's a good thing. If you have a guy on your team scoring more points than the other team, I would say good.
Jason Tatum scored 9 points. The Magic scored 7.
I would say good.
So, again, I'm going to validate that's clutch. That's championship closeout. What more do you want? This is why when he says, what are they going to say? What are they going to say now? What are they going to say next? I don't even know why.
Well, you know what they're going to say next, Joe. The Magic suck. You shouldn't have been in this situation in the first place. Like, you do this.
But yeah, can we validate that? Again, I'm validating that Orlando has made the Celtics get uncomfortable.
They made them work. I think this could be a good thing for the Celtics moving forward.
They really are haters, huh? I'm going to triple down on this. Like last year, I said they were front runners. When they play front running basketball, nobody can beat them, and no one did. But now they actually have to adjust the way that they play. But it's Orlando; they only have 2 players, and everybody stinks. Oh, and they're hurt. Like I don't know what to do. You know what's funny is that this stuff never happened when the Patriots were in their run locally here. Like when the Red Sox would go.
I remember a lot of the path talk that they cakewalked to.
The tomato can thing was always real. Always.
Well,
Always real. No, the tomato can was real. But were we ever saying guys were soft and not clutch? Like ever? We're witnessing a run here that I don't know how long it can last for. I don't. But the amount of, and I don't even want to use negativity, but the unhappiness of watching great players do great things, yet they get discounted for who they do it against. I don't understand it. Here's another one I just got. I ran out of fingers, toes, and the remainder of all bodily appendages, as well as my entire red blood cell count, attempting to match the quantity of you using the word validation. Because you don't validate them. That's the problem. You guys don't validate them. Like, what do they have to do? Like, what? What else? They're without Drew Holiday, their best defender. Jaylen Brown's clearly not right. Kristaps Porzingis is in a funk. You got a 38-year-old guy making the biggest plays of the game. Derek White is actually hitting all the threes. You've gotten 0 from Peyton Pritchard offensively. Sam Hauser's been a nothing until last game. You're playing 8 guys. And they win. I don't understand it. It really boggles my mind. But yet, did you see LeBron yesterday? Or, I don't know, did you watch the New York Knicks play? Like, is it, Anthony Edwards once again?
See Luka's defense?
Oh, God. I thought LeBron, at the end of that game, by the way, sucked. Now, don't you think you have to manage the minutes for a 40-year-old guy? That's on Redick.
LeBron's the coach of that team, Joe. You're going to tell me J.J. Redick's telling LeBron when to sit down in the playoffs? I don't think so.
I thought that there was a really poor inbounds play in a tie game that he turned the ball over, and that was the turning point in the game. But I'll tell you this. He was phenomenal on defense. LeBron's defense yesterday, amazing. Watching Detroit play, they got something. I don't know how long they can stay in it. They should be up in the series.
Karl Anthony Towns was awesome. You got to give it to him.
For a guy who is called soft.
A guy that is soft most of the time.
Should I validate him too?
One game for Karl, so I don't know if I'd go that far, but when he starts building up the resume with performances like that, he hit some shots in that game that were, I don't know if you saw the one on the baseline, and then he hit the 3 from way out. Yeah, I was impressed yesterday.
I'm taking Miami tonight. They're at home. They got to fight in there. I got them 8.5. I don't know if they'll win. I'll take it. Take the 8.5, but
I mean, they have Eric Spoelstra. They should win, right?
Greatest coach of all time.
Greatest coach, best coach in the league.
Can Steph Curry with Jimmy Butler back tonight take care of business? There was a big Steph Curry LeBron debate today. I remember the day someone said Kobe was overrated to me, and I think that was the same day I said they were front runners. I can't remember. I remember being over at that Big Night studio that day, and I almost lost my mind. Anyways, if you want to talk about the Celtics, this is the place to do it. Oh, someone says validate that they're beating an 8th seed. There you go, Skaz. There you go. You called it.
Yeah, 7 seed. At least get it right.
Oh, 7. Oh, 7 seed. Benny is in Oxford. What's up, Benny? Benny!
Hey, sorry, I don't know if I'm losing service here, if it's the phone. So it keeps going in and out, even while I'm listening to you guys on the phone.
Oh, how you doing?
So I apologize for that.
Can you hear me?
And, I'm just sitting here laughing. First off, I'm still laughing because I didn't see Jordan Walsh play yesterday, yet they still won.
Yeah, I know.
The guy that called in Sunday.
Yeah, they needed another guy, and Jordan Walsh is going to be the guy.
And at least they didn't pull a J.J. Redick and play their starters for 24 straight minutes yesterday in the second half.
That's true.
No, it's just funny, man. Like you said, Tatum outscored the Magic, and they're tied 91-91, so 9-7, meaning if no other Celtics scored at all, we still win that game. So what else did Tatum not outscore them enough? Is that what it was? It wasn't pretty. You wanted him hitting 10 threes because you yell at him for shooting threes in the clutch. He drove. He hit all those free throws. He's getting fouls. I mean, what else would you need him to show? And this team, you're saying they're soft. People still calling them soft. As far as, like, numbers still count, right? Like, scoreboard still matters. They're up 3-1 in this series. Am I wrong? So, I mean, they're handling the physical play. Is it pretty? No. But when you're playing a physical style of basketball like that, you're not going to win 130 to 80. So I just don't understand what else people want to see.
You know what? I'm more impressed at the fact that they are willing to change the philosophy that they have to try to win games. I'm more impressed by that than anything else.
I'm with you. They're playing the different style, like Skaz said, we never really like the one-on-one, but in this series it happens because Orlando's just not switching and they're not helping. So once Tatum gets by somebody, Jaylen Brown gets by somebody, there's no one to really meet them. So they're able to have their way that way, and they're winning a different style. They're winning in ways we didn't want to see them try to play the one-on-one style, but it's working for this series, and I'm liking it. But they're still winning the damn game, which is bottom line what you need to do.
I mean, in the end, right, your two star players carried you to victory. You needed Jaylen Brown. Brown was not good in the first half. He was not. He didn't look right. He got in transition. He made steals. He played defense. Like, he was the guy that got him going. Now he missed a free throw or whatever on one of their stretches, but it was Tatum that when ISO ball, it was Tatum that knew when they were in the penalty, drove to the basket. Like, that was something they didn't do on Friday night that I thought that they changed in the next game.
Yeah, no, I agree. They adjusted well. Joe, I don't know if it was Joe or Tatum, but whatever. I'll give Joe the credit. They adjusted well, made the adjustments that needed, and they played how they needed to play. They came out, and like you said, that championship style validation game where they put them away, played how they needed to play to get a win, and that's all that mattered. And Jason Tatum rose to the occasion no matter what you haters try to say out there, no matter what you're going to try and pick at. He rose to the occasion. He went, 12 for 12 from the free throw line?
Yes.
Or something like that, right?
Yeah. Did you know that the duo of Tatum and Brown did something that, really in Celtics history, last duo to do
I think I heard you mention it, but what was it?
It was Larry Bird and Kevin McHale, 35, basically 30 in double digits, so double doubles. But and Tatum broke a record when it came to getting to the line, and whatever. The records don't matter. They just They just need to win a championship, and then maybe we'll give them a credit. That's where I'm at.
Well, I mean, he needs to do better. I mean, break his own record now. I mean, just keep. He's a bad player. I think we should look at trading him.
Mm-hmm. All right, baby.
They won without him game 2, so just trade him.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you, man. Reading our chat tonight. Someone said I have George Costanza hands. I have huge hands, guys. I have a huge head. I have a size 8 fitted hat. I have a size 16 shoe. I have huge paws. Like, regular gloves don't fit me. I had to buy my own glove when I played baseball.
I mean, he was a hand model, wasn't he, for a little bit, Joe?
I do have beautiful hands. I gotta tell you.
That's a compliment.
I got mallet finger, though. I've had that my whole life.
You and Drew Holiday.
That's right. But, who would ever think I'd have small hands? Whatever. Celtics talk is so boring. They're the best team. If they win, it's expected. If they lose, fail. Next topic. All right, then. Let's get into the draft coming up next here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Well, the Celtics have a 3-1 series lead over the Magic. They look to wrap up that series on Tuesday. Cavs look to close out the Heat tonight. Warriors and Rockets in the nightcap. Jimmy Butler expected to play. Patriots released a bunch of people today. I'm not even going to name them. And the Red Sox off until tomorrow when they take on Toronto. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray, and I'm eating a Ricola.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
All 98.5 The Sports Hub. 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 Got it all, man. I got it all. I got a supporting cast here tonight, too. James Scaramazino. Intern Trent is here. We'll talk to Brian Barrett in a bit. Bobby Manning's back from Orlando. I know he's doing a ton of stuff. His sources were on the ground. So the NFL's king. Everybody wants to talk about the draft. Woo! By the way, Thursday night from the Brook we were, guys. Did you know that was 5 straight hours of football talk? And I don't know if I've been 5.
Yes, I know, Joe.
Yes. But do you know that, like, I haven't been able to explain to anybody what I saw. I know you get the video of us while we're there, but Alex Barth for 5 straight hours was doing the show with me, but was writing an article, posting on social, posting to threads, cutting up video highlight reels in between the breaks. I mean, I don't think he used the bathroom. Like, he was just, like, typing up a storm. And I would ask him, so, hey, this the first guard just went off the board. What do you think? He's like, oh, yeah, him from Texas A&M. Yeah, he's a good guy. And I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden, it's like, all right, we got to go to break. He was – I give Alex Barth a ton of credit because I don't have that kind of attention to detail. I don't have that. So watching him in action was something else. Something else. So I give him a ton of credit for what they did. He did it again on Friday night. He did the wrap-up show with Cerrone yesterday. But I would just like to say, for me, that was 5 straight hours of, besides the breaks every 4 minutes, was nonstop NFL information. And you know what I did on Saturday? I watched the entire draft. Why? I don't know. Red Sox got rained out. Oh, was there a doubleheader, actually? I watched the entire draft. You know why? Because I couldn't stop watching your Hall of Fame guy, Mel Kiper.
Not my Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's right. He's not your. Mel Kiper. We'll get into him a little bit later. That was a dumpster fire. And the Shedeur Sanders stuff, it was fascinating, I have to admit.
You talk about being pot committed, Joe. You know, we've had takes where we are, strong. We feel strongly about them. Last year, you're and my Celtics are going to win the title. They can be front runners. I would say we felt pretty strongly about that. I don't think, take sports out of it, just convictions in life in general. I'm not sure I felt as strongly about anything as Mel Kiper did about Shedeur Sanders over, the last 5 to 6 days.
I need someone to support me like how he supported Shedeur Sanders.
That's a ride or die right there.
Like,
tough weekends, I would say. We might have to do tough weekend power rankings later in the night, but I would say Mel Kiper, Bill Belichick, and Jax Olbrecht are probably the big 3 for a tough weekend in the sports world. It was a lot of interesting things going on, Joe.
Yeah, Luka had a tough weekend.
Yeah, Luka did as well, but
So everybody loves the Patriots draft. To be honest with you, I don't really have a bad thing to say about any of the picks. Like, I actually excuse me, if I looked at the first maybe 7 picks, I think all of them were probably top 100 guys. I know the last 2 weren't top 100 picks. That defensive tackle that they got from Florida State, for anybody who watched Florida State football this year, they had DJ Uiagalelei, who was awful. And that defense was awesome, and he was one of the guys who spearheaded that defense. The pass rusher from LSU was second-team All-SEC. Like, I was impressed with the draft, I got to admit. How do these guys translate now to the NFL? That's always the story, right? Jalen Polk, I thought, was a hell of a player at Washington last year. How did that translate this year? Travion Henderson, if you think about it, this year he split time with Judkins. They actually went to him, hey, like, we're going to bring in another running back here. But he was NFL made. He probably could have came out a year ago. Wouldn't have been a second-round pick, though. But the Patriots had guys who can plug and play right away. Right away. So I don't want to sit here and tell you that they knocked it out of the park and it's the best draft ever and I'm going to give him an A. For the guys that they identified, at least from what I've seen in college and some of the prospects and reporting, they should be guys who compete for jobs. So that's my biggest takeaway. The Patriots now have multiple competing players, whether it's at wide receiver in Kyle Williams, whether it's at center, at running back, at tackle, long snapper, kicker, you name it, safety. They have brought in now 11 guys plus undrafted free agents where there's competition. The biggest difference from last year's team to this year's team, take Gerard Mayo out of it. Every single one of the players got extensions and had jobs. Ramondre Stevenson got an extension. Devin Godshaw said he wanted an extension. Jabril Peppers got an extension. Everybody got extended a year ago. Well, this year, captains are getting cut. Like, there's been changes galore. Now, it's about bringing in talent and having a competition. No one's job is safe. And that's why I think this draft class has a chance to compete. It doesn't matter if a guy's had time in the league. It doesn't matter. So that's my biggest takeaway from the draft is they brought in 11 new people plus undrafted guys that are compete with the current roster. That has nothing given to them. Now, all the guys that they brought in free agency, they'll all make their money. You know, this Bradbury kid that they brought over from the Vikings, I thought he was washed a year ago. He's making $3 million guaranteed. If he gets beat out for a job, they might have to eat that money. I don't know if the Crafts want to eat the money, but you know what? It's a competition. There's a big difference between last year's draft and this year's draft. And Elliot Wolf said it himself. Last year it was more about need. This year, I do think it was about best available or guys that they brought in for top 30 visits and met at the combine and personality. So I'm not going to go nuts about the draft, but I really liked it. They got A's everywhere. Mel Kiper said it was the best draft. There's still a lot to see here, but what I like more than anything, competition, because last year a lot of guys, they got their extensions, like Jacoby Brissett got $8 million. Did he even have to compete with Drake May? He already had the job. We'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. Your thoughts on the Pats draft. We'll get into more of this as we're here until 11 o'clock tonight. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the
Everybody, we talked. Yep, everybody wants to talk about the draft, so let's do it. Tom is in the car. What's up, Tom?
Joe, what's up, my dude?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, so I was just calling because two things. I don't really want to talk about the draft. I'd rather talk about the Celtics and how Jason Tatum is stamping his name all over this series. All over it. They don't win that game last night unless he goes off. And that fourth quarter was just magnificent. So, yeah, I would like to talk about that a little bit more. But honestly, the whole Shedeur Sanders thing and Mel Kiper was music to ESPN's ears. Like, everybody and their brother who watched the draft on ESPN literally saw it through the lens that Mel Kiper was going off. And it was just, everybody's talking about it. ESPN is back in the limelight. And so when you say, like, yeah, he had a bad weekend, well, he did, but his bosses loved it because the ratings were there.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. There are other reasons why I didn't like it that we'll get to later. Okay. John's in Leicester. Hey, John.
Hey, Jeff. Just one quick two things. One on the draft. I just wanted to say, we're talking about how bad of a weekend Mel Kiper had, but at the same time, we're talking about how we're going to give him take his A+1 draft on the Patriots. So, I mean, we can't talk out of both sides of our mouth here.
Well, I'm not. I didn't say that.
Well, just before the break, I thought you said that. Well, they had the best grade.
I said everyone's giving him an A, and I think that they did really well. It doesn't mean it's going to be good. Just like last year, they got it.
No, I agree with today. I don't know.
Mel Kiper gave him an A last year too.
Yeah, well then that look how that worked out. That's
so
sure,
that's what I'm trying to say.
So, yeah.
I'm not the guy who talks out of both sides of his mouth.
No, not you. I'm just saying in general, like with both of them. But really quick, my one thing before we hang up is I know you're a big food guy. Have you ever been to Breen's Cafe for a steak and cheese in Worcester?
I have not, but I've heard much about it.
If not, I'll put it on your list. But all right, well, I just wanted to say that, and you have a great night.
Polar Park in July. I'm going to be out there.
Okay, in July, so put Breen's on your list then.
Breen's. Okay, thank you.
Breen's Cafe, steak and cheese, though, with everything on it. I don't know if you like mayo on your steak and cheese, but if you do, you got to do it.
All right. I'm probably going to do a steak and cheese, just steak and cheese. Nothing on it. Sean's in the car. Hey, Sean.
Hey, Joe. Love the show. I look at the draft in three ways. So last year, obviously, Pats get a big grade because of Drake May. And that's why there's the A's and B's from last year, I believe, because they were talking about it all day today. Then what I then will look at is, okay, look at how our assets besides the quarterback got better in this draft. We have a legit left side tackle. He's way better than Badarian Lowe. We're going to be happy with Will Campbell for 1 year, at least. And if we have to figure out, we figure it out. I'm so happy to watch Kyle Williams catch 10-yard balls and actually make moves, as opposed to all the highlights on Polk and Baker were bombs. Like bombs from Michael Penix, bombs from the FSU quarterback, whoever it was. So I'm just thinking this draft, we have players that fit more of what to do at the pro level. And on top of that, Vrabel looks so happy about those defensive guys in the fourth round. And that's exciting. Thanks, Joe.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, so here's why I can't really. I've watched a lot of college football. I watch a lot. Every Saturday I watch the MAC games. You name them, I watch them. Sometimes players don't transition to the NFL. It happens. Drake May still has only won one game in his career. That's all. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. They certainly supported him, though. We'll get into that coming up here on the other side. Again, the phone number here is 617-779-0985. Feel free to call in tonight. Here until 11 o'clock. We'll talk to Brian Barrett at about 8:20 today. He's from The Ringer. Oh, I heard Bill Simmons had a good one. I don't think I can share it over the air, though.
Yeah, apparently, our good friend Max upset with Bill Simmons. I don't know if you saw any of that.
I did see that. Do you know, Do you know that I thought I napped and missed it? Like, they kind of jumped right over 1981.
That's disrespectful. Cedric Maxwell is a Finals MVP. He's a part of Celtics history.
It doesn't tell the story of the Celtics. Larry Bird was the high draft pick. Struggled. They needed the veterans to take over, and Max put them on their back. Just like when Bill Russell was struggling, they had to go to other guys. They told that story. They showed how Sam Jones hit all the big shots and clutch shots, but they happened to miss Larry Bird as a youngster struggling.
Yeah, I'm with Max. He deserves to have his story told, especially in a Celtics documentary. It feels like all that should go without saying. Like, the fact that it even is brought up is, I think, embarrassing for Bill Simmons. Like, if you're going to do a Celtics documentary, the guy that was the 81 Finals MVP still works for the team.
And his numbers up.
His numbers in the rafters, and you can't get him. And shout out to Max. B-Rob filling in yesterday. I believe it was Cedric Maxwell's mother's birthday,
90.
and that's why he missed. So, shout out to the Maxwells.
One more thing I wanted to add, because you just brought up the documentary, and I know we're late. The last, I believe, before Jason Tatum, the last Celtics player to have double-digit games of 30 points or more. Do you know who it was? Reggie Lewis in a playoff game. Man. Just sometimes I don't see the name Reggie Lewis on the list, but it happened. It was true, and that was the series I believe he collapsed against. Is it Charlotte? Yeah. All right, we'll get the headline here. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Studios. The 18-time world champion Boston Celtics are looking for number 19.
Tatum pulling up.
Hear every playoff game right here. Your home for Boston Celtics basketball. WBC FM and HD1 Boston 98.5 The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Celtics, they look to close out Orlando tomorrow, and I really hope they do, because it's just I can't take it anymore. Speaking of tapping out, the Miami Heat are tapping out again. 43-17, end of first quarter. Let's see, that is Joe Math. So we 23, that's 30 points. That's not good. Anyways, Warriors and Rockets will be later. Patriots had to release a bunch of guys today, but you wouldn't really know their names anyways. By the way, Joe Math, 26 points. I don't know why I said 30. Red Sox are off tonight. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray.
New England plays here.
Ball down the right side. There's a separation. Touchdown pass. Yes. Perfect dive from Drake May.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
I got ridiculed for saying they tapped. Uh-huh. Tap, tap, tap. Just like John Morant. Tappa, tappa. You think tomorrow we get a Banchero tap? Or a No, you don't think we get a tap from them?
No, I expect tomorrow to be, grinded out Celtics pull away late. Kind of how it's been.
I feel like somehow, some way, Contavious Caldwell-Pope is something's, I don't know. He's just, someone's going to throw a towel on him or something. I don't know. Just don't throw anything at him. I didn't mean to say that. That guy's a bum. He is a bum. They're all a bunch of bums. That team sucks. And I give them credit for hanging in there. Like that, is it AJ Black? That guy was a top 5 pick. He stinks. They stink. Anyways. Tap. Well, do you think they'll still cover the 8?
I would lean no, Joe, unfortunately for you. It's not looking hopeful.
Max Strus. Just get out of here. All right. Well, this is what I had in the rundown for 8 o'clock. The Patriots built around Drake May. Fair to say, right? Will Campbell at left tackle. They identified him as the best left tackle in the draft.
I would say on paper, that's certainly what they've attempted to do.
Yeah, if you notice how you say the on paper, that's where I'm at with the draft today.
That's how could you be anywhere else?
Well,
we have no idea.
In the past, it's got since betting's been so legalized now, Skaz. I used to be the guy that could read a line and look at a line and give you a trend, and here's what I think as an analyst, and now everybody's just doing it. So, I watch college football and I know these guys, so it's I could tell you that they're very good. I just don't know how it will transition. I do feel that Travion Henderson can transition to the NFL. But does it mean he can last? Does it mean that he's going to have more than 2-3 years? Like Sony Michel. One good year, led him to a championship, right? Faded after a year and a half. Literally, faded. But where do I think he can help Drake May? Running the ball and also in pass protection. Kyle Williams, now, the one thing I'll give you on Kyle Williams is this guy's a home run threat. He's a downfield receiver, played at multiple schools. He's somewhat of a slot receiver, can play on the outside a little bit, but he's fast. And they interviewed him. They brought him in at the Senior Bowl. These are one of the guys that they've identified and circled, and they selected him. He does have a case of the drops, though. And when I bring up competition, he's now competition for Kendrick Bourne. Kayshon Boutte. There's competition for these guys. Maybe he's competition for Pop Douglas. Who knows? Jared Wilson, for those who don't know much about him, played at Georgia last year. Only played 1 year. He was somewhat of I don't want to call him an unbalanced, lineman, but he played a little guard at times, in the years before that. But he was the most athletic center in this year's draft. And he fell in the draft. He was all SEC second team. But there's been a history of these type of centers that play in the league, and David Andrews is one of them. So this guy's going to push Garrett Bradbury. Could he play guard? Maybe he can. I think long-term it's center. Now, Craig Woodson, there's a little of a background with him. He's a safety that they're going to bring in. They needed a safety. Their secondary at Cal is very good. They had 2 players drafted. He played with, remember, Jalen Hawkins, who's on the Pats? He played with him when he was a senior. So there's at least a relationship there. But when it comes to single, high, deep safety and deep half, he's a guy that can play there. I don't know if they have a safety that can do that right now, guys. Between Kyle Duggar and Peppers, they don't have a single high safety guy. So this guy lays the wood, though. That's why his last name's Woodson. Get it? Lays the wood. So does he help Drake May? No, but the other guys do. Mentioned Joshua Farmer. 6'3", 305, but he's very long. He led the FSU last year in sacks. He was one of their captains. Braden Swinson, again, if you watched any LSU games, pure pass rusher. 8.5 sacks a year ago. 13 tackles for loss. Very durable. They brought in a kicker. Borregales. Can he kick in the snow? I don't know. And for all the talk about looking at Armand Membu, why don't they just go bring in his left tackle? And that's exactly what they did. So, draft on paper looks really good. Feel free to call in 617-779-0985. Celtics are still on the table as well. We got Scott in Rhode Island. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Joe. How we doing? Listen, I just want to ask a question here. So Tatum, when he went down, did he hurt his knee, feet? Any reason why he couldn't just get up with a hurt wrist and run over to the sideline? Maybe go to the locker room, see the trainer. I don't understand that. Did he hurt his? Why couldn't he get up? You hurt his wrist. You owie, it hurts, and you run off, and you get to see the trainer. Why? Why did you have to lay around on the floor? You didn't hurt his his ankle, his knee. So why can't he just run off?
Scott, you ever hurt your back?
Oh yeah, it's the worst.
Okay. So what do you do when you hurt your back?
I gotta lay on the floor and go owie, owie, owie.
Thank you.
Is that really what people are curious about? That's like a serious question. What does it matter? What do you care if he lays there for an extra 30 seconds?
Did you see him yesterday? Took a big hit, right, to the floor. He laid down for a minute. Now, he got up in a crouch position and like flexed his wrist a little bit.
So now we're upset he didn't get up fast enough. Is that really what we're doing here?
That's why I asked him about his back. Did you ever hurt your back?
No, I'm sure Scott's been in the real battles where he ended up banged up.
This is what I mean. I'm trying. Nobody's going to validate them.
That guy felt like a kid who asked, like, why does anything happen? Just why? Why? Why did he do that? Why?
Why couldn't he just get up?
Yeah, why? Why do they wear green? Why is it called a basketball? That was tough. That was a tough listen there.
No, but I've pulled my back before where I stop an emotion and I go, oh, and then I try to like adjust. So if I move a certain way, it goes back to not hurting. Have you ever done that before?
Yeah,
like,
of course. I'm washed up, Joe. I get hurt getting out of bed all the time.
I just coughed and my ribs hurt.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say, if you ever have an injury where you end up on the ground, whatever the injury is, you're going to sit on the ground for a minute. That's like human nature. Yeah. He's supposed to get up and sprint back to the bench. We'd be like, oh, what a tool. And he's trying to, now look, he's acting too tough. It's like, you can't win. We're going to complain about the guy who scored 16 points before didn't get up quick enough as the newest complaint. We're going to have to keep a list of complaints, Joe. That's a new one. It's not often we get a new one here. I would say the upset at the speed it took him to rise to his feet. That's a new one for me.
I thought about calling out today. I thought about it. I go, you know what? We have a long stretch run.
I almost pulled a Zoe. My water heater went.
That's true. Yeah, your water heater went.
Yeah, I got some standing water. It's going to be an expensive.
Zoe's got a few water heaters. Though,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. I still showed up.
Hey, by the way, have you gotten to the water heater episode of Sopranos?
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's like kind of early on, I feel like.
Yeah, let's just talk to Gabe in West Roxbury. What's up, Gabe?
Hey, Joe. How's it going?
What's up, buddy?
Glad you had a good time at WrestleMania in Vegas.
Still recovering.
The guy who filled in for you last week, he brought up a question for people. Not that he thought it, but he was like, would you rather see Tatum ball out and not win the championship, or have it be like last year and kind of a group effort and win the championship? And it was funny because, earlier it was people disrespecting Tatum, and Stephen A was like, I don't disrespect, I don't think he gets respected. He doesn't get his flowers, and the host, whoever, the guy filling in for you kind of just shows yeah, he's one of the guys that thinks Tatum is in clutch. He said that. And I want to apologize to Skaz because I was like, Skaz, I think you have some stats that prove that Tatum is clutch. And then the guy, hung up on me right away. But just have to say, there are some guys out there that still think Tatum needs to ball out so we know going forward he's going to be the man. I thought we knew that maybe we don't. I mean, stupid, crazy. I love you, Joe.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Felt like that was at the end, I love you, Joe. That's love.
I'll just say for Celtics fans, stop caring what people say about the Celtics.
I think
I get it.
I'm starting to fall into it.
Yeah.
But it's only because I think we sit here and it's hard to speak facts and not have people comprehend it. That's my issue.
Yeah, that's a them problem, Joe. If someone can't watch Jason Tatum and think he's clutch, that's up to them. I can't do it anymore. Let them say whatever I think. You can't. If you're a fan of the Celtics are good. You have a top 5 player in Jason Tatum. Enjoy it. You're gonna win some titles. You're gonna lose some. That's how it goes. And I don't think every game needs to be Jason Tatum is or isn't clutch. He has a resume that I would say certifies him as clutch. Let's hope he continues to build on it. I don't want to do the Tatum is clutch after every single game. I think on Sunday was a prime example of him being clutch, and so tonight's a good night to throw it in those people's faces. So I'm all for that.
I just wanted people to validate it.
You're just stating facts, Joe.
When you go to you got to validate your parking.
Yeah, get it notarized. Yeah.
I want everyone who didn't validate it to go pay for it. Now you have to pay. See, he tread like that one. What's he wearing? What hat is that?
He's got a little Eagles Super Bowl champs hat and a Terry Henry shirt. Basically, that's Trent in a nutshell right there. That's if you were wondering what intern Trent is like. He's a big Eagles fan that loves soccer.
All right, we're going to talk to Brian Barrett next. I'm late. Sorry, Brian. We'll talk to you in a minute here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On
Brian, looks like Cedric Maxwell is not happy with your boss about the being left out in the documentary.
Yeah, I saw that. It was funny to me. What, because they didn't talk much about the MVP stuff, I guess, was the rationale behind that?
Yeah, I think he deserves. I think he's got a good case.
Yeah, well, I would say this. I was at the screening, and he was not happy with one of the Bill Walton stories. Bill Walton said that he called up Cedric Maxwell after the trade, and Max screamed out, "That's not true. It didn't happen."
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know. But, hey, I think the 80s part of the documentary was really good. Maybe Max was just looking for a little bit more love, I guess, that he won the Finals MVP, which is probably like a trivia question that I think most people would get wrong. They probably just assume that Bird got all 3 MVPs.
Yeah, and that was the story of one young Larry Bird, where although he was the man, needed a little bit of help to win it that year. Anyways, what'd you think of the Celtics being taken out of their typical game shooting threes and having to find other ways to close out a road game to go up 3-1 in the series?
Yeah, it's been an interesting series so far. I mean, when the playoffs when we're getting close to the playoffs, I said the one team I don't want to play in that bottom 4 group is Orlando, just because they've had some success against the Celtics, and they're the number 2 defense in the NBA, and I know they don't have Jalen Suggs, but they get a bunch of big guys, and they switch everything. So the Celtics are going to have to play in isolation, and as we've seen in this series so far, they're hitting 6 less threes than they averaged during the regular season. But I came away really impressed with Tatum's performance in the fourth quarter, right? Because it's not easy to play isolation basketball. The Celtics are playing isolation at the highest frequency right now in the NBA in the playoffs, and it'd be higher, of course, than any team played during the regular season. And I just thought Tatum hit clutch shots. He got to the free throw line. What's he, 26 of 26 in Orlando? There's going to be certain teams when you're running through a playoff run where they're difficult matchups. I thought for a different reason last year, Indiana was a tough matchup because they played so fast in their half court. I think with this Magic team, the good thing is for the Celtics, they have no offense to speak of whatsoever. They were real trouble shooting the basketball, but I think it's been a grind of a series. This whole idea of, I don't think it's great for them that they're getting tested in this way, because it's not like Tatum and Jaylen Brown or Drew Holiday, who's, of course, dealing with the injury right now, or Al Horford. It's not like these guys and Derek White, they need to be battle tested, right? They've played in so many big games over the past few years. I just hope they can avoid any more injuries as we get closer to the next series and just end this thing tomorrow night. But I was impressed with Tatum. I thought he was really good in that game. And also I would say I was impressed with Missoula. Now, he's handled the foul situation poorly, I think, in the last 2 games. But in the first quarter of the game, they just changed up how Porzingis was playing. They said, hey, just keep rolling to the basket instead of stopping and trying to shoot over these smaller defenders. And he got 6 of his first 8 points just doing that, rolling quickly, because the Magic weren't ready for it.
Yes. Speaking of the Magic, they have 2 good players. Everything else has really just been defense and being physical. Well, can you tell us what's going on with Drew Holiday? Because I certainly think they could use him in this series.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that he's dealing with this hamstring strain. I try to be optimistic and look at it and say, hey, he's not playing in this game on Tuesday night because, hey, they're up 3-1. They can afford to be safe with it, but I don't think we're really going to know the severity of it until the Celtics move on to the next series, whether it looks like it's going to be the Knicks after the Pistons were robbed of a game on Sunday. But it's definitely concerning, right? I mean, this is the whole idea of the Celtics is you felt like, all right, they dodged a bullet with the Tatum situation. That could have been worse than it is. Jalen's still dealing with this knee situation where he's had his moments in this series. Obviously, he was awesome in game 2, but there's been times where he doesn't look like the same guy. And Porzingis, got hit in the head. I'd rather have something like that happen where you just have a gash rather than some sort of lower body injury. But I don't know how anybody could say they're not concerned about Drew if he's now missing another game, because I do think he's so critical to them in this play. Like, he was awesome when he was guarding Paolo Banchero. I thought he did the best, and Al was really good at him in that game the other night, or on Sunday night, I should say. But I really feel like if you're going to win again and you're going to repeat, you're going to need Drew Holiday, just because I think what we all realized at the beginning of this playoff run when we saw Drew back out there and just like making Drew Holiday type plays is, oh yeah, like this guy's a lot different in the playoffs than he is during the regular season.
Absolutely is. I would just like to bring up validation. There are a lot of people that think maybe the Celtics are soft or they're not clutch. And I think yesterday you saw our third quarter from Jaylen Brown after struggling early on where he took over. And I don't know, Jason Tatum outscored the Magic late. And he also had 16 points in the fourth quarter, 9 for 9 from the foul. It's just this stuff never goes away, Brian. And I'm actually getting like, I wish I didn't care about it, but I just want validation because nobody else will do it.
Yeah, they're definitely a tough team. I mean, and look, Orlando's trying to get under their skin, and I understand the strategy for them. They're the underdog, so they get to resort to David's strategies. But I thought my favorite part of the game was when KCP was getting into it with Tatum. And I don't know why there was a double technical. I didn't see what Tatum did on that particular play, but Tatum just sort of laughed after it, right? And I do love the fact that Al Horford, who I feel like Al is the nicest guy in the world, and he completely hates this team, which I think in some weird way maybe this does help the Celtics in the long run, even though, like I said earlier, I don't think they need it. But, yeah, this is certainly a tough – you don't get to the foul line as many times as Tatum is getting in the series without being tough. Jaylen Brown, who's struggled at times during the series, like the fact that he could take over in the third quarter and just get into his mid-range game after – let's be real. He was miserable in the first half of the game. He had 3 made buckets and he had 3 turnovers. There's a point in that first half where he just lost the ball. He's playing through this finger situation now too. But the idea that the Celtics aren't tough, I think that would be ridiculous. And Celtics right now, like, if you can just end this series, you'll be in good shape because I think that Knicks series, based on the way that things transpired at the end on Sunday, like they're probably going to wrap up their series. So you just can't give them any sort of a rest advantage. But the way that I look at it right now, and I see what Indiana's been able to do to Milwaukee, and I know obviously Lillard went down with that Achilles injury, but I feel like the Knicks are a much better second-round matchup for the Celtics than the Pacers are. And I think Cleveland, they're absolutely crushing the Miami Heat right now. Miami did not show up for this final game. But I think Cleveland's going to have more difficulties with Indiana than the Celtics are going to have with this Knicks team.
Agreed. I was just going to ask you. I think they need to take care of business tomorrow. And then you'll get New York, who will, of course, I already have Tom Thibodeau fired and Mike Malone taken over. So, yes, I agree with you. This is kind of one of the toughest tests they've had as far as finding other ways to win. They haven't been able to do that yet. They didn't have to do that, at least in last year's playoff.
Well, and if you think about it too, Joe, it's like this is how Orlando plays. Like the only other team that can mimic the defense that Orlando is playing is, and they can do it better, is OKC because they have the bodies to be able to switch all these guys on defense. Like Wendell Carter's their weakest defender, and he's really not that bad, right? Especially for a big man being able to move his feet. Like obviously the Celtics, we've seen this when they have Al on the court, they can do this to teams as well. But you just think about that hypothetical second-round matchup against the Knicks, which is more than hypothetical, I'd say, at this point. But Karl Anthony Towns can't switch on to Tatum or Jaylen Brown. They also have Jalen Brunson out there that the Celtics can target him in isolation situations, right? We've seen Mikal Bridges, who had this reputation of being a great defender because he was earlier on in his career, finished second that year to Marcus Smart for Defensive Player of the Year. He doesn't bother Tatum. Tatum just goes right through that guy. So even though the Knicks are the far superior team to Orlando in terms of just the talent, especially the offensive talent they have, in theory, this Magic team is just a tougher matchup because of the style of defense they can play. And that's a team, too, in the next couple of years. If I'm them, I'm doing everything I possibly can to try to get somebody else in there with those two guys. Hey, Devin Booker, are you sure you want to stay in Phoenix? We got two guys. We need a guard that can score. We need anybody that can shoot. I'd be calling a lot of these teams that have superstar-level players that could be on the trading block because I do think they have something going there in Orlando. The big thing is just going to be finding shooting.
I wonder if Damian Lillard would ever be an option for them whenever he gets healthy again after his unfortunate. But you're right. I was talking to Scabs about that the other night. They need someone, but Ben Caro. I've been calling him Ben Charo. He's good. I give him credit. He's bigger than I thought he would than he was, and I think over time he could even be bigger.
Yeah, he's huge. I think he's listed at 250, but I think he's closer to 260, maybe even 265. But that's another thing that was impressive about Tatum in that game. That mid-range jumper that Tatum got in him at the end of the game there, the 1 foot Dirk shot where he basically just discards him, and the guy's 250, 260 pounds. Like, the functional strength of Tatum is impressive.
Absolutely. Talking to Brian Barrett of The Ringer. Brian, what'd you think of the Patriots draft?
I thought it was awesome. Like, obviously, you look at Campbell, and we've been over, I think, the arm length and the wingspan like a million times. But I would say if you're going to bet on somebody to overcome those odds, because a guy with those measurements has not made the Pro Bowl or an All-Pro in the past 25 years, it's a guy that he finished second among tackles in the athleticism score, and the makeup's unbelievable. I love the Henderson pick. I don't think that they expected him to be there. I know there's been some stories about them arguing in the war room, which is a good thing on who to take. I'm glad they took Henderson. That guy, as you know, as a college football fan, Joe, that guy is just unbelievably explosive. So I love that. Even if you say, hey, do you really need a running back at that spot? I like the pick. My favorite pick of the whole draft is Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams is an absolute freak. He was fourth in the country in yards after the catch. He forced 21 missed tackles. He's over 17 yards per reception. And the big thing to me about him, the Patriots, they cannot beat man coverage. This guy was number one in the country in touchdowns against man, and he was third in the country in yards against man coverage. So I really thought, like, based on what they did in free agency, adding a lot of defensive players, I love the fact that the first, 4 picks were all on the offensive side. You got a center that could eventually, ran the fastest 40 at the entire combine for any offensive lineman, that he could eventually be your center of the future. I just like the fact that it did feel like for a lot of this draft, it was best player available. And even like circling back to the Campbell thing, even if you have questions about the arm length and whatnot, the thing is, like, there wasn't that player sitting there at 4 with Carter and Hunter off the board that you can say, all right, this guy's significantly better than Campbell. And Campbell, okay, he's a talented guy, and you needed that position too. So, like, even the Campbell pick, I can totally understand why they did it. And I don't know about you, but I love the attitude of him. The fact, like, all these stories that I'm now finding out about him, he wore the LSU 7 patch. Like, the 7 goes to the most dynamic player on the team. So, like, Odell Beckham Jr. has worn it in the past, right? The Honey Badgers worn it in the past. They gave it to a left tackle, and he can't wear it, obviously, because of the rules of the number. So he just had the patch, like, on his left shoulder. I'm loving all the stories we're hearing about him.
That's funny. All right, so you're a stat guy. Drake May still has only won 1 game in the NFL. Like, that's a fact. And I know the team was bad, and they built around him. What, like, as far as statistics go, or, you know, I guess what I'm asking is, with everything they've built around him, right, what type of leap should be expected for him in his second year?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. There were some careless interceptions. Like, he did throw 10 interceptions on the season. Not all of them were his fault, of course, but you can say that about every quarterback. But there was a couple there last year where you're like, okay, man, like, you really can't be making that throw. But the other thing that I would say in terms of Drake is he's going to be more careful about taking hits, right? We saw that last year. He had the one freak concussion where he was just, like, falling from behind. But the other one where he took a hit near the sidelines, like, you probably don't need to do that. And the one other element to this, and I'm fascinated to see this, I think where he takes a leap, because we know that he has unbelievable arm strength and throwing the run and all that. I think the one thing that they really need to dig into next year is, I think this needs to be sort of like a hybrid of the Mac Jones offense and the Cam Newton offense. And what I mean by that is, Alex Van Pelt didn't believe in design quarterback runs. It's like, dude, that was 2024. Like, everybody does that around the NFL. So I think this offense can be so much more dynamic if they just use his legs. And I know a lot of people say, well, you already got hurt when you weren't doing design runs. Well, there's less of a chance that you get hurt when you're from, like, a concussion standpoint with design runs, because you see what's in front of you, right? Like, when you're scrambling, that's when you're in trouble and you don't know where the rushers are coming from. So I think that's the big thing to me is, like, get him involved in the rush game, in the run game more. And then from him, like, personally, he's got to cut down to the interceptions. Like, there's no way around it. I can be, like, sympathetic to the fact that he's trying to force some plays last year because they were so limited from a talent perspective. But I think next year, like, it's going to be one of these things where, hey, if Drake May does have a bad game, I think it will be a story this year, right? Because I think you look at FanDuel right now, they put it up to 7.5 in terms of the win total. So if he doesn't play well, I think there will be some criticism. When last year, I feel like most of the fan base, I would include myself in this, I was just excited to watch him play because we really haven't seen a franchise quarterback in so many years. And I think he certainly looked like a franchise quarterback. I mean, let's be real. That's the reason Mike Vrabel's here. Mike Vrabel's not here just because he played for the Patriots. It's like, okay, yeah, they have if all the teams, like you could argue like Caleb Williams was the number one pick, but it's like, yeah, I played for the Patriots and they have this quarterback, right? It's the same reason that Ben Johnson wanted to interview with the Patriots, right? I mean, he was interested in the job because of Drake May. So I think that's all part of this equation here is now getting the best out of Drake May. And I think adding Williams, adding Henderson, adding Diggs, we'll see when he's able to play in the offseason. I think they definitely took a step forward in adding to this offensive line. So I think there should be real expectations for Drake May next year.
All right, Brian. Well, I'm looking forward to it. We got all this time to. I like that there's real competition. Like no guys getting extended. Yeah, they brought in a bunch of defensive guys that got paid, but those are the guys that they identified. Now there's real competition. If there's somebody that was on the team previously and they don't play better than a drafted kid, they're gone. So I'm looking forward to that type of competition, and it's a true rebuild. So I'm still going under 8.5 at the moment, though.
I got you. Yeah, and look, I think we all got really excited after the draft, but I understand your point on that. The one other thing that I'm interested in from an offensive perspective is Demario Douglas, I felt like was so good as a rookie, and I felt like he took a step back last year. And even if it wasn't like all his fault, there was that one game, remember the Thursday night game against the Jets where it's basically he was just running cardio, like they weren't throwing him the ball, and he was upset at times. I feel like that's the perfect type of player to thrive in McDaniel's system, right? Because they've always had, when McDaniels is here, that slot receiver that could put up crazy numbers. And when you look at his numbers after the catch 2 years ago, they were awesome. And I think the offense, the receiving core makes a lot more sense now. I'm not saying it's one of the best in the league, but Kyle Williams, dynamic guy, can beat you down the field. This guy can take screens to the house. I mean, you've seen the highlight film. It's ridiculous, some of the screens that he takes to the house. And then with Stephon Diggs, I mean, when he comes back, even if he's been a problem in different places, he's legitimately one of the best route runners in the NFL. I don't think anyone would dispute that. So we'll see what happens with the rest of the guys, the young receivers that are on this team.
All right, Brian, appreciate your time tonight, man. I'll be watching the rest of this Celtics documentary. I caught up last week, and we'll see what else happens with the Ringer. And I didn't even get to ask you about the Red Sox, but you know what? It doesn't matter. If they hit, they do well. If they don't, they stink.
Yeah, and Rafael Devers hit a couple fastballs, which was a nice thing to finally see this year.
All right, man. Well, we will do it again soon, man. Appreciate your time tonight. He's Brian Barrett of The Ringer. Brian, we'll catch up soon, man.
All right, Joe. Have a good one.
You got it. Go check out his work. Brian Barrett of The Ringer. All right. What do you want to do next? Do you want to talk about Belichick and his girlfriend? Do you want to talk about the Bruins' next head coach? We'll have to just find out here on the other side on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers have a 72-33 lead. So 33, that would be 39 points, Joe Math. Well, that's not good. Tap, 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 tap. Anyways, the Warriors play tonight. No Red Sox tonight. It's not really much going on at all. Headlines, they are brought to you
creative muse, as he writes in his book.
Make sure that that's the
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
not talking about this.
No?
No.
So I was on yesterday with Paul Perillo when this broke. So I've reacted to this already. Skaz, you have not. But let me just read a couple of things and then I'll get your opinion on it. And then I have a developing thought. And it reminds me of a movie. But anyways, this was, I just saw this from Awful Announcing and I thought it was fairly funny. Jordan Hudson's presence was felt in a big way during Bill Belichick's interview with CBS Sunday Morning. As it turns out, the University of North Carolina is starting to become increasingly worried about just how involved she is in Belichick's role as head coach of the program. The girlfriend of Belichick for the last 10 months has increasingly been seen as Bill Belichick's de facto agent and PR strategist. So much, in fact, that Hudson actually requested to be copied on emails from Belichick. I think we knew this, as the chief operating officer of Belichick Productions. The most recent instance where Hudson interjected herself into Belichick's personal life came on Sunday. Turns out the interview featured far more input from Hudson that was simply not captured. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, I thought they met on an airplane. Why can't they tell that story? Is that not how they met, guys?
We're purely speculating, Joe, but if you were to ask me, I would say no, that is not where they met.
Like, was this like, 70s looking for love, like .com?
The Golden Bachelor, Joe?
Golden Bachelor. Remember we talked about this before. I don't care how they met. I don't care. I don't care about any of that.
I kind of do.
Okay, yeah. Give your take and then I'll give mine.
Well, I mean, do I really care how they met? No, but the whole thing is fascinating. It's depressing, I would say, and I'm speaking solely from me, my perspective, how I feel when I see this. Bill Belichick didn't look good. That was kind of the first thing, that he looked like a deer in the headlights this entire interview. They asked him about, the Instagram and all that stuff, and I heard the morning show talking about it a little bit. And I can't remember who exactly said it, but it was basically like, Belichick might not even know that these things are out there, like the Instagram posts and his lobster salad they were eating the other night, and the beach pictures and the costumes. Like, there's a chance that he had no idea that is in the public domain. I think that's possible. The other thing too, the big part of this that I would love to know their feelings on it. The University of North Carolina, Joe. Bill Belichick, what was he wearing in that interview?
A Navy shirt.
A very tattered Navy sweatshirt, right? Which is what it is. Bill Belichick, I know he has family ties to the Navy. He was never in the Navy, first of all. Second of all, he works he's the head coach of the University of North Carolina. They compete, maybe not directly often with Navy, but guess what? They compete. I find that very bizarre.
Yeah. Steve Sarkisian, I think, went to Air Force. Does he wear Air Force?
Yeah, I don't remember Coach K, wearing, stuff like that after, Bobby Knight was coaching him. But the whole Belichick thing, I think it's really bizarre. I think it's kind of sad.
BYU, sorry.
It appears as though he is, being held against his will in this interview. Obviously, they're both consenting adults. They're allowed to do what they want. But from the outside, Joe, to me, this is a very sad, bizarre, embarrassing situation. I always want to think people are like better than situations like this. And Bill Belichick was certainly someone who I had, as a Patriots fan, as someone who grew up in New England with Bill Belichick winning, multiple championships and constantly being lauded as this smart guy who hated media sideshows and side stories and was solely focused on his one goal, winning football games. Just what the hell happened? And he's got his kids on the coaching staff, his kids on other coaching staffs. How do they feel about this? Just a million questions come out of this for me. Very bizarre. It seems like an absolute nightmare. Just a total nightmare. I'm 31, Joe. I could not have less interest in dating a 24-year-old. So,
I wouldn't even know what to say to them.
Yes.
Sometimes I don't know how to talk to, I can talk to Trent, but some of our interns, I don't know how to speak to them. So here's my thought. And there's only one place I can go. The Addams Family Values, the movie.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
But that was the MC Hammer. They do what they want to do, say what they want to say, live how they want to live. But the plot of that movie, if you remember, was Gomez and Morticia had a baby. And they had to hire a nanny. And the nanny that they ended up finding was a woman named Debbie, who is played by Joan Cusack. And Debbie is a serial killer who marries people and then murders whoever she meets. Well, she seduced Uncle Fester, if you remember. And it just reminds me of their relationship. Uncle Fester got hair, started wearing suits. Is this anybody picking up on this? I feel that Jordan is Debbie. I don't mean she's going to kill him. I just mean it as, it's weird. It's weird. It's Adam's family weird. He might as well be Uncle Fester. She might as well be Debbie. Everyone around him thinks it's weird. He asked for kisses, she asked for money. Then Debbie wants him to cut ties with the family. I bet that's already happened. We need the hand to get involved. This is Adam's family values. Uncle Fester's Belichick and Jordan's Debbie Joe Cusack. We got In or Out coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com to save 15% off your next drive-thru oil change and Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people.
You can stay up to date on off-season moves and playoff runs with the Sports Hub newsletter. So a few times a week, a carefully curated email will hit your inbox, filled with the latest Boston sports news. It's going to have in-depth analysis, local and station events. There'll be videos from your favorite shows, subscriber-only content, and, of course, hot takes. Head over to 985thesportshub.com and click on subscribe so you don't miss a thing.
Town Fair Tire Studios.
This is Boston's home for sports.
Holiday 3. Good night. Jalen forces it up over six. Somebody tied it.
WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Well, if you thought it couldn't get worse for the Miami Heat, they're now down 88-43. You think we'll hear from anybody tonight, Skez? From the Miami Heat? Think we'll hear any from anybody? No? Fireball. Warriors, Rockets, they're the nightcap. Red Sox off tonight. They play Toronto tomorrow. Patriots cut a bunch of people, but you won't know who they are. Patriots, how about the Celtics? They'll look to close out the series tomorrow. By the way, Tampa Bay's up 2-1. A lot of fighting going on in hockey. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray, in or out now.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5, the Sports Hub app.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed.
Yeah, we hear it too often. And lastly, Joe, Warren Zevon.
Yes, in.
Werewolves of London.
Mm-hmm. In.
All right, dude.
I got to look up those other names, though.
They're your inductees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2025.
Who got left out? Do we know?
That I do not know, Joe. I would imagine there's somebody's upset somewhere about it. But yes, those are the inductees. All right, Joe. Now on to some more of the fun stuff, Joe. We will start with wrestling. WWE star Liv Morgan called out smelly fans after WrestleMania, asking them to take better care of their hygiene, saying, "Take a shower. What the hell? You don't get close enough to me so I can smell your stink." Joe Murray, are you in or out on Liv Morgan calling out wrestling fans?
In.
Were there some odors at WrestleMania?
Yes.
Oh.
In. If you, all right, I'm a large guy, right? Like, I'm big. No. Wrestling fans, bigger than me. It was funny. Drew McIntyre, who's also a wrestler, basically asked all the fans to wear deodorant, and then when he went to the event, he was just throwing Dove deodorant at the crowd, which I thought was hilarious.
Feels like a good sponsorship opportunity.
That's right. All right, as a wrestling fan, I will tell you right now that their hygiene is not at the top of their list. Now, I don't know if this goes back to the days of, like, the Nasty Boys. I don't know if you remember the Nasty Boys are wrestlers, but
a little bit.
They used to throw someone in the corner and they'd stick their armpit up and then stick someone's face in their armpit.
Well, I think
out on that.
The worst is obviously Rikishi, right?
Rikishi would wear literally a thong and then do the stank face.
Out on that. No, thank you.
Nobody wants a stank face.
No, certainly not.
There's been others. I could give you more if you'd like. Hygiene not at the top of the list for wrestling fans. And you know what, Liv? Have you seen Liv Morgan?
The picture is in the tweet. Yeah, very attractive young woman.
Very. And I think that she's also a heel, so maybe it's kind of a...
Playing into it a little bit?
Exactly.
I think she might be onto something, though.
But I can admit, as a wrestling fan, hygiene not at the top of the list.
All right, Joe. You're a memorabilia guy. I'm somewhat of a memorabilia guy. Michigan State. I wonder if Hardy is aware of this, but Michigan State is auctioning off some pieces of their stadium. won a one-of-a-kind man cave treasure. Portions of Spartan Stadium's scoreboard are up for sale, including the giant, green and white Spartan head. Joe Murray, are you in or out on owning portions of a stadium?
In. I wish I could have got the old Boston. I told you I tried to rip out my seat after the snowball. In. Now, do I want to buy it at an auction? No. But like okay, what locally here, right? If you could get dirt or a brick from Fenway, would you do it?
I'd want like the numbers maybe on the monster or something like that. Like maybe I think something like that would be cool.
Maybe a piece of Pesky's pole.
There you go. Yep, something like that would be kind of cool. Piece of the lighthouse would be great.
From Gillette?
Yeah, of course, Joe, that lighthouse.
Okay, I've been to other besides the Dom steak tips.
I don't know if they have like a. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Trent, is there anything from Philly that you think you might want?
Like the Phillies, the P from the Phillies logo on the stadium. Give me one of the old Coke bottles from Fenway.
Oh, that's a good one.
One of those.
Or like a number in the Monster, like one of the numbers that were in the Monster. See what I mean? The Garden doesn't have it.
Trent wants a piece of the jail cell in the bottom of the vet.
Oh yeah,
from the old stadium.
Yeah, they don't. It doesn't have its lore,
And also, like these stadium signs, I went into the auction just to see. Only like $2,500, but the Spartan head you're buying is like 15 feet by 15 feet. It's huge. Like I don't know what you do with the thing.
Okay, confession. When I was in high school, Don Bosco High School closed. It was in Boston. And my friends and I didn't I won't say we broke it. The door was open. We didn't trespass, but we did take some of the Don Bosco football stuff.
I'd kind of
27 years ago. I mean,
yeah, mine wasn't that long ago, but 15-ish years ago, walked into Cameron Indoor. It was unlocked.
Oh.
Just walked right in. Walked right out on the court, just took didn't take anything, but just walked around. Very small, but nice building.
Well, shout out to Don Bosco. That no longer exists. Steve Diossi went there. Trying to think of some others that might have went there. 2-2 now, Tampa Bay, Florida.
Yeah, Ekblad might be hearing from the league after this game. All right, Joe, a lot of viral stuff going viral on Twitter over the weekend, but one, maybe not what everyone is thinking of. A man tweeted out a picture and said, does anyone else mix their peanut butter and jelly first? And it is a picture of peanut butter and jelly mixed together in a bowl and then put on the sandwich. Joe Murray, are you in or out on pre-mixing your sandwiches?
Out. I pre-mix my tuna. I get my tuna, I wash it out, dry it out, I put mayo on it, and then I mix it. And then I put it in a sandwich or a pita or whatever. And then sometimes I toast it first and then do it. I've never mixed peanut butter and jelly before.
No.
Mix it?
No. Doesn't look very appetizing.
What the heck? You know what's funny? I could do that with wings. Like if I wanted to make like a wing, I'd mix it. No, I'm out on this. Out.
All right, Joe, another food thing I saw over the weekend.
Who wants soupy peanut butter and jelly?
No, not me. Certainly not me.
Sorry. I
hard out on that. Hard out. Joe Murray, are you in or out on honey mustard on a grilled cheese sandwich?
I'm not out on my grilled cheese. Personally, I think it should be grilled cheese made alone, and then you put your own toppings on it. I know that probably doesn't satisfy a lot of people. So I don't know if I want it. Guys, I don't know if I want my honey mustard on my thing, but you know what? I'll dip it because I'm a dipper and a sniffer and a lover and a sinner. Give me the food that I love.
All right, Joe, we'll head to the movies for this next one. The Minecraft movie has been making waves all over social media because of the crowd reactions, freaking out during certain scenes, jumping on the seats, throwing popcorn, you name it. So to kind of not curb this crowd reaction, almost to encourage it. They're offering block party movie screenings, designated times where people are encouraged to freak out and enjoy themselves as a group activity, singing along, whatever it may be. Joe Murray, are you in or out on quote-unquote block party movie screenings?
I used to love a block party in the neighborhood. We had them in Boston.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody had a dead-end street, and we'd have a block party. We'd play, like, Salt and Pepper and, like, Tone Loc.
Ours would usually end in, like, a big food fight. That's what I remember.
Food fight.
Like a whoopie pie fight or something.
We would have riffraff, trouble coming in, and then we'd have to send everybody home. Now, a block party with a Minecraft movie? I feel like there'd be a lot of smart people there.
I feel like it'd be a lot of children.
Yes, smart children. Probably on their phones. And like with what are they, like one of those drawing pencil things?
A stylus.
Stylus, there you go. Maybe they'll have one in their ear, like a pencil in their ear. And they definitely got patches.
A bunch of Matty P's walking around.
But pocket pouches. Right? I've never had a pocket pouch in my life. I've never put like a
pocket protector
in my pocket ever. But when I'm at the casinos, guys, you know what I do? When I get green or black chips, right in the top pocket. That's what you know you got cash for later. You play with a little house money. Minecraft, though, it's too smart for me. Out.
All right, Joe, we will end with this one tonight. You were a fan of the Holdovers movie. I was a fan of the Holdovers movie. You're a big Anthony Bourdain guy. They've announced that one Dominic Sessa from the Holdovers will be playing Anthony Bourdain in the upcoming movie called Tony. Joe Murray, are you in or out on Dominic Sessa as Anthony Bourdain?
In. I think Anthony Bourdain needs a movie. And I think that his story is get all over New England. Like, we'd be Vermont, New. Oh, it'd be awesome. Multiple destinations. Picks from all over the place. In. I think we could do it up right out here. All right, we're going to take a break. Bobby Manning, CLNS. He was in Orlando. He's home now. We'll talk to him next here on the Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Cut your energy bills without sacrificing comfort.
right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. We've been talking Celtics, everything tonight. Patriots, we just did some in or out. So let's go to the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline right now. Welcome in Bobby Manning. He of CLNS, just returning home from Orlando. Bobby, how you doing, bud?
What's up, Joe? Good to hear from you.
You too, my man. How was it in Orlando? What was the vibe like? Did you get confetti after their 2-point win the other night? And what was it like leaving there yesterday?
I saw the confetti, yeah. There was definitely some Philly. It was that 2017 vibes, 2018. So, yeah, that was a good win for them. They still skated by one possession and 0.3 seconds there, and I think that's been the story of the series so far is they've been incredibly difficult. They've been a good test, I think, for later. And they just don't have enough offense to legitimately threaten to win most of these games. And so I thought last night was another great atmosphere down there. There's still those infusions of Celtics fans in every section there who made their mark, but that place was rocking after the win. And that was, I'd say, outside of some of the scares in that Indiana series last year, about as threatening of a 2-game stretch in the playoffs as I can think of over the last 2 years here, which is crazy to think about because it's a 7-seed upstart Magic team. But they've been that competitive, they've been that tough, and they've had a phenomenal game plan to slow the Celtics. But I have to think this is probably going to end at home tomorrow.
There's a couple of things I think that have to happen tomorrow for them to win. But can we just talk about Kristaps Porzingis for a minute here? I know he's dealt with some foul trouble. He's had matchups, but is just missing around the basket. What do you attribute to that? Is it anything that Orlando's doing? And he started to get hot from the outside a little bit as well.
Yeah, and they've pushed him out wide from the basket. I've been stunned by how much the physicality impacted him, especially earlier in the series. And they found some ways to get him out of those, back down, post up possessions and get him on the move. And, I like the pace last game. I like the way they opened things up offensively. They noticed that the Magic were packing the paint on some of those drives so they could just kind of sit him in the dunker spot and drop it off to him there. So they put him in some different positions to succeed. No one's been able to get threes in this series, so that's not exclusive to him. It's amazing how the Magic have limited them there when they're usually able to get 50 up in their sleep. They've had more like 30 per game in this series. So that hasn't been stunning. Like you said, he got 2 to go last night. I think it was a step in the right direction. Now, the defense is a little concerning. I think there's been a tough series or tough last 2 games from on that end. The first 2 games were good for him defensively, but they put him in some actions. Bronze, I think, in particular, really made him work. There was a moment there with 4 minutes left where I wonder if they were actually going to put him in with the 5 fouls and end up being a good move by Mazzulla. And, Joe actually redeemed himself a little bit after he struggled to get Jalen in at the end of Game 3 there. He got Kristaps right back out there, and he broke the 91-91 tie with the dunk there in the and one. So nice redemption game for him. He can be even better than this. I think he has to be even better than this. I've said it all year. I think he needs to be a part of this run. And, talking to the people around him, he's really wanted to be part of this run. He feels like it's unfinished business for him in a way, given how absent he was from last year's postseason run for the most part. So I wonder if pressure plays a part in that too for him. A little bit more pressure he's putting on himself to start these playoffs. I asked him that last night. He said not really. It's more the regular season, the playoff adjustment, seeing what guys are going to get away with against him, acclimating to some of the physicality. And I think that makes sense because he really hasn't played a ton of playoff basketball in his career when you think about it.
Right, he really hasn't, and he's got the matchups inside. Speaking of just some other players that I think will play better going back home, you saw Sam Hauser get going a little bit. He was on the floor for a couple of plays, for a couple of balls, hit a few threes as well. And the other's Peyton Pritchard. Although he went scoreless, he certainly helped out in other areas. But is it just, again, bench guys struggling on the road? I expect him to bounce back tomorrow night.
Yeah, that was a baffling one from Pritchard, especially after a game where he only shot twice. He talked that morning about finding some ways to get involved, push the pace. I thought he did those things, but he hasn't been able to get his shot off. And it does make you think down the line, if they play a defense that can switch like this, I think Cleveland can do a little bit of that. I think Oklahoma City can do a lot of that. Does it take those guys out of that kind of series? And, I find myself torn, Joe, about whether this is a good test for them or something they can learn from and something that they can look back to and say, hey, that Magic series really prepared them for some of the tougher teams down the line here, or if it's more concerning that they haven't been able to get going offensively. A lot of guys up and down the lineup, when they've had the three taken away, haven't been able to get to other areas on the floor to score. And Jason's done it. He's over 50% in the mid-range in this series. I think Jalen's had some times where he's been able to get to the line and find other ways to score without the three. Kristaps too, mixed bag there. But Pritchard's been mostly neutralized as a scorer the last two games without the three. Sam, certainly, it took 4 games for him to get on the board, period, and he hasn't been a major part of the rotation in this series. So a lot of this stuff is matchup. In my mind, it's kind of crazy to think about, but I think next round could actually end up being a little easier than this round. It's just a bad matchup for Boston, and the scary part is that Oklahoma does a lot of stuff, if that does end up being the final series, that the Magic do, and they do it at an even higher level, and they can score. So, I'm still looking way down the road at that potential series there, and I'm getting a little worried about what that might look like for Boston. But again, do they take some stuff from this series? Do they learn some stuff from this? Do they just have enough grittiness and those championship level plays in games these close? And those weren't big blowout games there in the year against Oklahoma City. Does that championship pedigree, does that experience in these spots get them by in some tough games against a team like that? I mean, that's what they've done here. The Horford offensive rebound, the dives to the floor, like you said, some of the key possessions that they've been able to generate for themselves. Even Tatum's play down the line there. Like, does all that stuff get them by a team that theoretically might actually have them from a matchup standpoint later in this playoffs? This is going to be a much more fascinating run than last year, I think, Joe, especially when you start to look at how beat up they are. And that's the real worry coming out of this series, is how many injuries are stacking up.
All right, we're talking about Bobby Manning, CLNS, just returned from Orlando. All right, well, you mentioned the injuries. Jaylen Brown's been dealing with a hand, and he's obviously got the knee. Jason Tatum's had the wrist, but he's had back-to-back 30-point performances. No Drew Holiday, who's going to miss again tomorrow. I thought they won yesterday's game because of Jaylen Brown's presence in the third quarter, and obviously the closeout by Tatum. Does it seem that something has changed since the get-up moment from Joe Mazzulla, and maybe Jason Tatum has a little bit more killer instinct?
Yeah, he plays with more physicality than he did earlier in his career, for sure. I think there's a comfort with going to the basket. It's been that mid-ranger for me that's gotten him through this series, and he looks good doing it. The shot of Apollo there late was big time, and I know a lot of people have dreamed about him going to that area a little bit more. He hasn't done it much over the last handful of years here. And it's nice to see that with that available, Joe's been comfortable letting him go there. He's talked about the fact that we're taking the best shot available, and they've gotten to those areas on the floor. It hasn't been super efficient. It hasn't been pretty, but they're scoring when they need to and staving off some of these Magic runs. And it's been those two guys. And I think Tatum said something, he said it a couple of times this series, sometimes you just have to beat your matchup one-on-one. And that's what the Magic's game plan has been. Make those guys play one-on-one, make them play in isolation, make Tatum and Brown beat us. And they've been able to beat them 3 times. Obviously 2 in Tatum's case with the injury there. But this has been impressive stuff from both of them. Obviously Brown's beat up, not himself. Feels like it's gone in the wrong direction in this series for him physically, which is definitely worrisome as this thing goes on here. So there is a real onus to get out of this series here. And listen, Joe, I'm not the biggest homer here, and I'm not going to be a guy who complains about much stuff with officiating and all that. But I do think the Magic have been allowed to really beat up the Celtics, throw in some extra checks here or there, pull guys down by the arms. You saw Tatum aggravate the wrist, with Anthony Black pulling him down on that foul last game there. So it's tough that they lost Game 3 and they haven't wrapped this thing up early. They got to play another one tomorrow night that's going to beat them up even more. But you can't let this thing go back to Orlando and give them another night of just open runs at knocking guys down. I know Horford took a mean spill last night as well. That's been the tough part about this series. And I said going into it, Joe, Cleveland went 7 games with that team last year, Allen came out of it with broken ribs. Mitchell came out of it deteriorated, and that impacted that Cavs-Celtics series that we watched in round 2 last year when the Cavs just fell apart physically. That would be the tough thing to watch with the Celtics into round 2 or round 3 if they just fall apart physically here and aren't healthy enough to go on a long run. Now, I really don't know what happened with Holiday here. I went back and watched that whole game, too. He played the whole fourth quarter. He was driving to the basket with 30 seconds left, didn't look injured in that spot. So I wonder if something happened between those games, and he's obviously already been ruled out for tomorrow here. I don't expect to see him again in this series. And how much longer beyond that, I have no idea. I don't know where that injury came from. Those things can be nagging a little bit, and he was so good to start this series that one's a underrated, disappointing part of this so far. They're plus 19 in the series with Holiday on the floor, only plus 4 with him off the floor, so it's been a big difference.
You see any shenanigans tomorrow night with Orlando?
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen it every game. I mean, the coach is up in it now. I don't know if you saw his comments, Joe, after last game, talking about the officiating, said after what Jalen said, we knew the calls were going to go the other way down the stretch there. So, he's doing what those coaches always do, down 1-3 in series like that, and trying to, play the official game a little bit there with the free throw discrepancy. Obviously, the Magic have been willing to foul and gave up the most free throws and fouls during the year, the way they played defensively. So it's tough for them, I think, to complain about officiating, given that that's how they want to play. But he tried it last night, and we saw him in the mix, and he's been an interesting character in this series, too. And, man, I don't know if this is the start of a rivalry between these two teams, and, we might see more playoff matchups between them down the line. There's obviously a little bit of history between these franchises back to those Dwight days. But this thing's been electric for a first-round series. It's been a lot of fun. I know we've gotten a lot of viewers over there on the Garden Report through this one, and even the Magic fans have gotten in our comment sections and gotten a little feisty. So I've had a lot of fun with this one. I've loved what it's brought out of Al Horford. He's been kind of the guy stepping in and getting in the mix with people and, calling out KCP and this guy and that guy on that side. Then obviously Cole Anthony has said some things through this series that have been a little inflammatory, and Jalen said what he said about, getting into a fight if they need to. I mean, this thing's just been electric, and as much as I'd love to watch more of it, for the Celtics' sake, they want to get this thing done tomorrow.
All right, who's the star tomorrow? I know Tatum's been the best guy over the last couple of games, even though he missed a game. Who has their breakout party to close this thing out tomorrow?
Yeah, you could go Porzingis there. I think, again, he got going last game and turned things around. You want to see Pritchard back in Boston, find his shot again, find his flow. He was so good in those first 2 games. He was the X factor, I thought, in many ways, and the Magic have said that too. So they started keying in on him. I think they made an extra effort to shut him down and pay more attention to him. But he's been the guy who slipped through the cracks a lot of times for defenses. And, I think you said it earlier here that he's done other things while not scoring to still be effective, but specifically on the defensive end. The Magic really haven't been able to take advantage of him. And that's a theme going back to last year that I think has been an underrated part of his ascension, is just how much at 5'11", 6 feet, he's been able to become a force on the defensive end and not get picked on by offenses. So, yeah, I could see him being the guy who swings things into, maybe a bigger win than we've seen in this series for Boston than any of the other 4 games. You are watching what's happening to the Miami Heat right now? No, I'm watching Celtic City. oh, that's right. It is on. 123-69 right now. Cavs went up. Wow. They were up 50 at one point. Yeah, you could have had. I mean, from your standpoint, Joe, do you like that better? Would you have preferred that for Boston, or do you like this test, this grind they're going through right now? I think this test is good and the grind is good. The problem is it going to hurt their health? That's my issue. Yeah. And that's what I mean. Is Holiday even? Do you even expect him to be ready for the next round? I don't know. I don't know about next round. And again, if them and the Knicks wrap this thing up, they move that series up to this weekend. So that's a possibility that you lose some rest time there if both of them do finish their series in 5. So, if you're talking a week or 2 for a hamstring strain, on the lower end grade there, and we haven't gotten a grade yet, obviously, on that thing, Joe says he's day-to-day. He said that about Tatum, and it turned out to be true. So I guess that could make you optimistic if that carries over to this case. But again, I have no idea what happened there. It's pretty strange if you go back and watch that game, watching nothing really happened there. And then he's just out the next game, ruled out a day before the last 2 games here. Didn't really warm up for that next one after they got hurt there. So, yeah, it looks like he could miss some time here. How much, I don't know. Do you have a cameo in the Celtic City? I do not. Maybe for the 2020s edition, whenever they put one together.
We'll have to do another one when they do it all over again and get you.
I'm watching it right now, though. They're doing that Derek White play from the Game 6 there in 2023. That was the single greatest moment. 5 years covering this team, play. I mean, it's still so crazy they didn't win that Game 7 after that, and it bums me out because. Man, that could have gone down with some of the best Boston sports moments if they pulled it off the next night.
Well, most of the Boston sports moments are the ones they never won the championship.
That's true. That's true. So I guess it's fitting. And then they won later, and White was a big part of it. So it worked out there.
All right, Bobby. Well, go enjoy the rest of Celtic City. Glad you're back. Hopefully they close this thing out, and maybe we'll catch up if and when they make it to the next round.
Yeah, Celtics next could be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that one, and I'll talk to you then, Jeff.
You got it. Thanks, Bobby. He's Bobby Manning, everybody. Check out his work. CLNS does his own podcast after the games. Does an excellent job over there. I thought I just saw Brad Marchand score a goal, but he didn't. He just was in front of the net. But it would have been something I would have talked about for 5 minutes. All right, let's take a break. We'll get to the headlines. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Tap. listed number 1 for the winter ratings. That's all I saw, Skaz, was 1. We were number 1. We weren't number 2. We weren't number 3. We were number 1. So thank you to our listeners. I know we had a tough Bruins season, and we had a great Celtic season, and when you mix those together, sometimes we don't have a lot of shows. But here we are now, in the thick of it. I'm going strong. No days off. You don't see me tapping out like the Miami Heat. I could have taken the night off, but I didn't. It's too important. We're in a stretch run, damn it. It's too much to talk about here. NFL draft, Celtics playoffs. By the way, I'm still looking for odds on the Bruins' next head coach. I saw Mike Sullivan is now the front runner to become the Seattle Kraken head coach. What's up with that? I have a feeling they're going to... Now, I agree that the Bruins is probably one of the top jobs available in the sport. I just saw David Carl said that he's not going to take an NHL job, or he turned down one of the interviews. And I saw Peter Laviolette was the favorite to be somewhere else. I really hope the Bruins land a big fish. Joe Quenneville interviewed somewhere the other day, guys. I couldn't believe that one. Rick Tocchet seems to be a name that I'm hearing. And I just watched Brad Marchand hug everybody for the Florida Panthers, and I got a weird feeling watching that. I was one of those people who said they should trade him. They've embraced him, man.
Yeah, just on Quenneville, it was the Ducks. I believe the report is that he was offered the job, and the ball is in his court. That was the report I saw.
They need it. They need it. They need somebody there, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't touch Quenneville, but if you're the Ducks, I guess.
What do they have to lose besides? I mean,
I guess they don't really have a reputation.
They have nothing to lose.
Yeah, but
their reputation is Gordon Bombay from the Ducks and Goldberg the goalie.
The Bash Brothers.
Yes, they knuckle pucks.
Yeah, Keenan still going
that's
strong.
My guy. That's all they got. They got nothing else. I don't know. I honestly could tell you right now. I have no clue what's going on with the Bruins. None. Zero. Any Miami Heat calls tonight?
I don't think we'll be hearing from our friends in Miami for a long time, Joe. A long time.
You remember that? We just started, right? Or I think I wasn't officially named the night show host yet. But we worked the run that we were just talking about with Bobby about the Derek White put back in the game 6. Like we were here. I was here for that. You were here for that, guys. And then we got fireball calls all night long. Prank phone calls from the Dan Lebitard show. What do you think they're going to do tomorrow? You know who I think is going to tap out on them? Hot take? Pat Riley. Tappa.
I don't think Heat fans would be against that at this point. I mean, never really got Jimmy any help. Didn't set him up for the future. At some point, you got to move on from the guy.
Know where he's going to go?
Hopefully away.
Lakers.
And then he can bring Luka and Jokic together.
If anyone can, it's him. I'm being serious. I'm not kidding. Pat Riley's going to tap out. Oh, you know who else is going to tap out? Giannis.
He's going to Brooklyn.
See ya. They're all tapping out, Skez. I get criticized for saying all this stuff. That's a tap out league. Tap. Miami tapped out 2 years in a row. How do you think Jimmy Butler's feel? Jimmy Butler's probably got some swag. He hurt his pelvis, but you know what? He's rocking like Elvis right now before the game. Elvis pelvis right now. I was just dancing. You saw that, right?
I saw it. YouTube saw it as well. I might be getting clipped.
Oh, no. Jimmy Butler's just like, he is celebrating right now.
Damn.
Damn. I hate that Jimmy Butler. See, I can't speak, but I can sing. I can sing. Anyways, we got the musings. We got a couple stories. I don't know where to go. Weed, lost cell phones. Let's do it all. Coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Murray's got all sorts of stuff in the world unrelated to sport.
The first attempt, but he had to be rescued for it. Are there things you've ever gone back twice for, Skess?
No, nothing.
I've lost like, oh my God, I guess I haven't really lost anything in a while. Oh, knock on wood.
It's gone. It's not worth it. Not worth the trouble. I don't own anything of great value. So even a cell phone, I'm not tracking up a mountain for it. No thanks.
Oh yeah, if it was 12,000 feet up so yeah.
No thanks. Yeah, no shot.
I lost my sunglasses once at the beach, in the water because a wave knocked me out, and I did look a while for them, but I don't know, they were $400. I don't need $400 pair of sunglasses, but they were a $400 pair of sunglasses. Gonzo, see you later. That's why I don't wear $400 sunglasses in the water anymore.
Yeah, I just think of things I've lost. I used to always have a chain or something in high school. Every basketball game, I would leave it at the end of the bench in a pair of shoes or something, and just gone. Lost, a couple of them, and then just stopped buying them until I stopped playing basketball, basically.
Yeah, you still wear a gold chain, right?
Silver. Yeah.
I used to wear the ice. Remember the ice chains?
Oh yeah.
I used to wear one on my wrist too. Why? I don't know.
Iced out.
That was the 90s Joe. I had my ear pierced. 90s Joe was, I got photos.
You have the barbed wire then?
I 90s Joe had the barbed wire. For those that...
Is that late 90s?
That was 1998 Montreal. I don't know. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it on the...
Oh, yeah.
We went to Montreal for my senior class trip. Well, not with school. It wasn't school regulated. But, it was debaucherous. We still talk about it to this day. But we rented a bus. We went, and everybody got tattoos. And I'm like, you guys are idiots. You sound like Napoleon Dynamite there. Idiot. And then I'm in the chair, and I told you I was a Pam Anderson fan. And she had a movie called Barbed Wire. Tribal was very big back then.
Trying to get it in with Pam.
No, I wasn't trying. No. I was a Catholic schoolboy at the time. And my basketball team, we were basically top 15 team in the state. And my coach goes, so you were leaving the team to go on a trip to Canada? And I said, yep. And again, Catholic Central Small champions, Catholic Suburban League champions that year. I came back with a tattoo. And my coach goes, so you went on a trip and got a tattoo? And I said, yes. And I flexed that bad boy every game I went to. Anyways, this guy lost his phone. Stupid story. If it's up there, just let it go. Oh, then he had to be rescued? Could he call anybody? How did he rescue him?
Yeah, my big problem with this is who's letting him up the second time? He's rescued once, then he leaves his phone up there, so he has to go back again. Maybe this is an adult, but the 27-year-old man, someone needs to be like, hey, bud, you're not going back up the mountain. We've done this once.
I'll buy you a new phone.
We're not sending you back up there.
Pay plan. Don't forget, Pamela was Borat's only love. Pamela. Oh, I did the puka shells. That's right.
Did you have one of those fighting necklaces all the baseball players had? Supposed to, or power balance bracelets, whatever those were called.
Man, 90s Joe is something else, man. See, Allie, she's from Hyde Park. I remember she said that the belly button pierced was really big back then. See, at Catholic school, man, they didn't like if dudes had rat tails, out. See you later.
This is the last time you saw a rat tail.
Wrestling? I don't know.
Yeah, other than the world of wrestling.
Or
the last time
Joe, what was the guy's name?
Joe Dirt?
Exotic Joe.
Oh, yeah, Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic.
Yeah, recently married, I think I saw. Recently married again, I think, Joe Exotic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he got hitched, right?
I think I saw that, yeah.
Anyways, I just saw my tattoo on YouTube. Sad. It's funny because nowadays when people ask me about it, I'm like, it's horrible. I hate this tattoo. But then I share the story, and then it's like, of course, you just nod your head. The other story, I thought this one was great. I told you I went to the Bacchanal for Easter brunch and ate everything, and it was really good. But this story is very interesting. A Texas weed dealer arrested for stuffing Easter eggs full of marijuana, hiding them around town, and orchestrating a weedster egg hunt over Facebook to drum up business. I think everyone knew that 420 and why is my internet access blocked for this? I can't read this article.
I'll send you one you can read.
What's going on here? Did you know tonight there was a time today where I didn't think we could have guests tonight?
Some issues with the phones, yes.
But I was like thinking about my voice, and I'm like, might just bring Trent in.
Let him loose. Last week for the interns this week.
Oh, yeah. When is your last day, Trent?
Wednesday.
Oh, my God, dude.
And Josh's will be Thursday.
So, hopefully, we have one more Celtics game, and then...
That's it.
Anyways, can you tell me the story? I don't even need to know. But this guy basically wanted to start a business and basically stuffed eggs with weed and did it on Facebook to drum up business.
All right, Joe. So cops, this from the New York Post, reputable outlet. The cops hunt for pot lover who hid weed-filled Easter eggs around Texas town and posted clues online. So he's basically a pot riddler, the weed riddler, whatever you want to call him, it appears. Texas police are on the hunt for a real bad egg, is the first sentence of the article. Cops in Lufkin are actively searching for a man they say filled plastic Easter eggs with small amounts of marijuana and hid them around the city for anybody to find, including a young girl who found one while at the park with her grandfather. Oh. After hiding the eggs, the individual went on social media to post pictures and hints guiding searchers to the location of each, which he stashed in 3 separate local parks and behind a local Motel 6.
He's down. Now, I'm not against it. Hey, by the way, there's a guy on TikTok I follow who leaves money at places. And then he tapes them somewhere. And he basically is like, if you can find it, it's yours. And I've looked for it. I was once in front of the garden. He put it on the ground at the garden once. And I went out there and somebody already got it before me.
You know, doing this in Texas just doesn't feel like the best idea to me. You know, maybe location. I don't know if Texas is exactly where you want to be doing the pot Easter egg hunt.
I don't think marijuana is legal in Texas.
So, yes.
Right?
Yeah, I don't believe so either.
Yeah, it's legal in Vegas, let me tell you.
Yeah, didn't we had a college, somebody got in trouble for being on a campus recently.
Yeah.
It wasn't a college athlete, but it was like a former college athlete visiting. I can't remember who it was down in Texas.
The guy got in trouble? Did he get arrested?
Oh, yeah.
That sucks because he was kind of an idiot. Would you slap him on the wrist for possession? Or did he orchestrate
distribution? I don't know, Joe.
Case? Where'd you get the marijuana? I wanted to share this with one of our listeners, Einbein. Einbein stands for one leg. And I might have went to like a Thanksgiving game like maybe the year after. Football game because my buddies were still on the team. But I think that's it, man.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been. Maybe a basketball game or something. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've been back. No Joe Murray public speaking events. You haven't been invited back to talk to the youth.
School's closed, but I mean, you know, I've nobody from Hyde Park's ever asked me to. They still have Manny Del Carmen do the Bellows. Lisa, I believe, just sang at the Celtics game the other night.
I'd be in for a Joe Murray, TED Talk with the youth of America. I think that would be productive.
Oh, I'd have stories. Guys, don't do this. Don't do drugs.
You'd be like
Now,
Chris
marijuana,
Carter.
let me tell you.
You'd be like Chris Carter up there.
Yeah.
You got to get yourself a fall guy.
Yeah, get a fall guy, guys. Oh, God. What happened with Shaq? He crapped his pants?
Yes, unfortunately we were unable to get to that last week because of the Celtics game. But yeah, it appears Shaq might have. There's some jokes about him drinking olive oil too frequently that he had to run off the set.
He drinks olive oil?
I don't know. That's what they were saying. I was hoping in jest, but yeah, it appeared Shaq had a very close call on the air that I just got up and left.
I got some Francesa audio we could play later. That'd be funny.
He's still going, huh? Where is he? What is he doing? Is that the radio? Is that's on?
I actually, this is the one thing I would tell all the interns and Trent when you leave, and I think I actually think Trent gets it. Talking on the air is easy. It's the preparation and the production work and the graphics and the video, because if you miss any of the show, you can find it on YouTube or online or wherever. And quite frankly, I find it more valuable to find clips than it is to watch entire shows. That's the business now. So yes, I don't listen to Francesa. I don't know what even channel he's on. But you know what? He shows.
You think? How about the tone, Joe? How about the tone? We're not discussing that. Ooh, it sends shivers down my spine.
Skaz, what was your line earlier? When Bill Belichick, what age was Bill Belichick when he became the Patriots coach?
Yeah, so there is a 49-year age difference between Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, I believe.
His muse.
His creative muse, how dare I.
Yeah.
Yes, Bill Belichick, when he got the head coaching job of the New England Patriots, was 48 years old, Joe. So he, a year after he got the New England Patriots head coaching job, Jordan was born. So just a fact. Don't really have much else other than that, but just simply stating the facts that yes, 48 years old, Bill Belichick was announced as the head coach of the Patriots. Currently has a 49-year age gap in his relationship. Not a math guy, but there it is. I thought you were asking about something I said off the air.
I left that one off.
Yes, thank you.
You know I want to talk about it, though, but in my lifetime, that when I immediately meet them, they have crazy eyes. You don't see anything immediately, and then the longer you look into their eyes, you start to see fire, and then you're like, well, should I keep looking into the eyes? I've looked into crazy eyes before. Then there's Cookie Monster eyes.
I'm unaware, Joe. Unfamiliar.
You're unfamiliar with Cookie Monster eyes? Trent, do you know what I mean by Cookie Monster eyes?
Oh, no.
Cookie Monster eyes are the girl that you meet at the bar who doesn't know what's going on but wants to hang out, and her eyes are just bouncing around, and you can literally see them. That's why I call them Cookie Monster eyes. Because you ever have a Cookie Monster doll?
I'm aware of the Cookie Monster.
But Cookie Monster's eyes were always bouncing around up there. There's Cookie Monster eye girl, too. No, there's guys I've met.
These are the exact type of talks I was thinking about when I said Joe Murray should be preaching to the youth. This is the content that they need.
No, the other one is this. I hope I'm not. People don't think I'm just singling out women here. There are men that I've met as well, that I've had conversations with, that I one day was like, I'm not messing with that guy, because you can look through their eyes and know there's nothing behind them. Literally nothing behind them. And I call those scary eyes, not crazy eyes. Scary, like Michael Myers. Michael Myers is wearing a mask, but still you can see his eyes. That's scary eyes.
Yeah, when I think scary eyes, are you familiar with she's like the crazy CEO lady that's like trying to make movies and stuff. Bridget Mendler, I believe is her name.
Oh yeah.
Crazy eyes there. We're talking crazy eyes, yeah. Scary. Daunting.
You know who's got crazy eyes? Who's the guy who played the Green Goblin there?
Oh, William Dafoe.
He's got crazy eyes.
Big William Dafoe guy. Willem, I think.
I like Willem Dafoe. We're already into May. April 28th birthday.
See, it was like Pasternak's birthday maybe or something?
Oh, I think I saw that. Oh, no, Krejci.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
Ooh, we got a couple of good ones. I think we need to celebrate at least one of these. Well, happy birthday to local guy Jay Leno, 75 years old. Mary McDonald is 73. Penelope Cruz, 51. You ever see Vanilla Sky? Crazy eyes. Cameron Diaz and Penelope Cruz. Crazy eyes. Jessica Alba is 44 years old. Man, I'm the same age as Jessica. Well, she's a year older than me.
Another one with local ties, Joe. It is Bridget Moynihan's birthday today.
Oh, she's one of Tom Brady's ex-lovers.
Yes, 54 years old today, I believe.
Got a long list of ex-lovers.
1989.
I feel like I should
that's
know
all.
that.
That's all I know.
Taylor Swift's birthday.
Is John Daly's 59th birthday
Whoa.
today?
Wait, he's only 59?
59.
No. What?
59. It is also Too Short's 59th birthday
Too
today.
Short. Wait, again, I get them all mixed up. Taylor Swift's birthday is December 13th, 1989. Sorry. Too Short. Okay, hang on. Was Too Short? Because I get them all mixed up. Those 2000 rap hip-hop guys.
Too Short's West Coast LA guy.
Yeah. Was he the I Don't Mess With You?
Blow the Whistle, I
Blow
believe.
the Whistle.
I think Too Short's in that.
Blow the Whistle. There you go. I knew that. What else has Too Short done anything else?
Yeah, he's still making stuff. He had a song with Cuddy not too long ago. Sir Too Short Volume 1, The Freaky Tales are coming out in 2025, Joe. He's one of his Wikipedia. He's one of very few acts to have worked with both Tupac and Biggie during their heights of their respective careers.
When I was in Vegas, I went where something happened with Biggie or Tupac. I can't remember right now. Too Short. I ain't tripping. Blow the whistle. Who else's birthday is this today?
It's Hal Sutton's birthday today. PGA golfer.
I still can't believe John Daly's 59.
59.
Jay Leno still going strong, huh? Do you know he was a wrestler? Oh, Violent J of the Insane Clown Posse's 53. Big Ed, remember him? He was on the Joe Exotic there. Yeah, see? Trent knows. He's 53. Remember he was on that Anthony Volpe is a baseball player. He's 24.
A Yankee.
I think that's all we got. Oh, the guy Hurley from Lost. Remember he was the guy with the numbers? Did you ever know anything about
Not
Lost?
a Lost guy, but I know Majori back here is a big Lost guy.
Bro.
Him and Street Team Joe yap it up about Lost.
No, Lost was legit.
I've heard it's very good.
It was very good.
But
It
it's
was
just
unfortunately the ending I figured out after season 2. And spoiler alert. I go, hey, is this about God and the devil? It is.
Spoiler alert. I mean, I don't think shows that are 20 years old, I think you could spoil.
But like one day I'm like, I felt like I've read this in like school. All right. Bridget Moynihan, huh? Tonight for the musings. Did we do headlines yet? Okay. Well, let's do that. Next here on 98.5 The Sports.
Towner Tire Studios, the 18-time world champion Boston Celtics.
I feel like everybody. It's really long. I don't know if we should. But basically, he's pissed that Abdul Carter wants to wear number 56. Maybe we get like a snippet of it, Skaz.
I thought this was a joke when I first heard it. I think it not only is brazen, obnoxious, and one of the dumbest things I've ever heard a highly prized recruit do. How would you ever have the gall, unless he was kidding around, and I gather he wasn't from what I can factor into this, and ask an LT to let him wear 56? Who does he think he is? I can tell you this right now. And I think Carter might have been the best player in the draft. I think he's going to be an absolutely standout player. I think he's going to probably be a star. A star. A really good pass rusher. I can tell you this right now. He's not going to be Lawrence Taylor. I was thrilled that Lawrence Taylor told him to take a walk, because what worried me is if they broached Lawrence Taylor with this from a standpoint of he could make money, that worries me because LT's always got an eye towards the buck. So that would worry me. He told him the right thing. Go make your own name. Go wear 00. Okay, fine. How dare this player, how dare he even consider himself in the same breath to come in here with that kind of attitude that you think you are going to wear the number, they are going to take the most famed number in their franchise's history. Okay? Lawrence Taylor, in my estimation, is the greatest defensive player in the history of the National Football League.
Yeah, and he goes on and on.
Yeah, I want some passion.
Let me see
Where's
if I can
he
find some passion.
I want, him stumbling and, you don't have to listen to it. It's okay. I just thought that it is kind of wild. Like, do you think Shedeur Sanders has asked for Otto Graham's number? Do you think he's... Speaking of that, can you think of a more funny quarterback room in history than Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders? Give me another one.
How about your 2025 New York Giants QB room, Joe? Are you aware of the names in this room? They have Jameis, right?
Jameis Winston.
They have Jackson Dart.
Yep.
They have Russell Wilson. And they drafted Tommy DeVito's also there.
Yeah. Tommy Cutlets.
Yeah, so I'd say that one's right up there.
What's the Jets room right now? Justin Fields, Jordan Thomas, probably. That T-shirt that everybody sees regarding the Cleveland Browns with all the quarterbacks that they've ever had. This is an all-timer. I don't think Shedeur Sanders sucks by any means. I think given an opportunity with no ego, and I think he might be able to play.
He's better than Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel is just he's a great college player.
Yeah, but he's
system player.
But he's my height,
he's
basically.
Short. I was going to say
yeah,
very, very short. What the hell were they doing, Cleveland? For real, what the hell are they doing? I can't imagine being a Browns fan. I can't. Do you know what the worst part about this whole Shedeur Sanders thing is? The fact that Deion Sanders is going to be linked to them all year long. And is that a good thing?
Not if you're the Browns.
if Dion, let's just hypothetically say Dion left Colorado for Cleveland. I wouldn't. That's laughable, by the way. It's still an NFL job. Could Deion Sanders save Cleveland? I'm going to say no.
I still think Kevin Stefanski's a pretty good coach.
I do too.
I know people, might be mixed on that, but for the QB situations they've had, he didn't sign Deshaun Watson. I wonder how he feels about that. That's almost where, Kevin Stefanski, I don't want to say, he's too good for an NFL job, but the Browns, that Brown situation, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm not seeing the light at the end of that tunnel. I wonder if he's trying to find a way out after seeing, what's coming. And maybe he looks at Shedeur and says, okay, we got some here, but you have 5 other quarterbacks on the roster that you have to figure out what you're going to do with them. So a disaster, the Cleveland Browns.
Oh my God, I'm looking at their R lads right now. So they have, Jamari Thrash, they drafted last year. Cedric Tillman's on, Jerry Jeudy is on the team. Line stinks. Jeez, they stink. They were a playoff team 2 years ago, man.
Honestly, they should have kept Baker, right? Probably.
Is it talked about how well Tampa Bay has drafted? And how the Patriots had that GM. It's frustrating. Guys that were here are other places. Nick Caserio. Should write an article about that. Guys that were with the Patriots that are doing things elsewhere. Nick Caserio, it is fun. I actually was talking to Paul Perillo about this yesterday. I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but I kind of criticize the Texans for moving on from a lot of their offensive line guys, trading Tunsil and guys like that. But they did sign Trent Brown and Cam Robinson. They have Laken Tomlinson they brought in. Their lines, they actually upgraded. They brought in some free agents. They got Christian Kirk, if you remember. They still got Nico Collins. They drafted Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. They drafted that kid Ursery. It's just, when I look at the Texans and what Nick Caserio does, it's hard for me not to think of the guys that the Patriots gave up on. All the guys that wanted to leave Bill Belichick. Maybe Belichick was crazy after all. Sarko!
Yo, what's up, my brother?
How you doing?
Let me take you off speaker real quick. Sorry. At the office, you know how I do. Hey, how you been, brother?
I'm good, man. What do you
Back
think?
a rejuvenator, right?
Oh, I'm trying, bro. What do you think of Shedeur
Oh,
Sanders?
that's great, man.
Hey,
just try the best you can, brother. That's all we can do every day. You know that. Skaz, what's up, my man?
Sarko, always good to hear from you.
Oh, same here, brother. I'm sorry I didn't call in when Joe was out, but you kept it alive, man. You kept that show going, man. That's what's up.
Appreciate you, Sarko. Appreciate it.
Oh, no, definitely, man. You know what I mean? So, what I wanted to say real quick is something about the Celtics. So I'll just talk about the fact that I love the way Jason Tatum came out and did what he did. I love that. That's a Jason Tatum I've been looking for. You get me, Joe?
Yeah,
remember when we were talking about you know what I mean? Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's get back to doing that and being that, but stay that way. Be more aggressive. At the end of the day, I was really upset they lost that game the other day, but whatever. We're not going to sweep them, but we should get it over with tomorrow night, right? And with that being said, I wanted to ask you a question, Joe. What's your real just tell me the truth, what you believe in your heart of heart. What do you believe happened with Shedeur Sanders and falling that deep into the draft?
I think he had bad interviews and teams took him off their board.
Yes. Sounds about right.
And I think he's made a lot of money in NIL money, and football's not important to him.
Oh, yeah, of course, because it's a different day and age now, right? So I just wanted to say something real quick. It was just it's really funny because I was thinking about it. I was thinking about wow, when, Eli Manning got drafted number 1 and he didn't want to play for the team he was playing for. But then they said, oh, no, but you know what? They still drafted him and they traded him. Okay? Because what? He's important. he was an important piece. So it meant like, okay, they can get a lot of draft capital and get stuff back. Now you can look back at whatever they got back is fine. But at the end of the day, I think it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? It's not, I don't think it was pretty cool like the way it was done. Like it was kind of done a little dirty. What do you think?
I think it was definitely dirty. Appreciate you, Sarko. It was dirty. But what can he do going forward? I think he's talented, and I think there's value where they got him. What does Shedeur do now? The league has spoken. What does he do now? That's the story. Can he show? Listen, would it surprise me if we get a random Thursday night? It's the Browns and Jacksonville Jaguars on Peacock, and Shedeur Sanders is starting. Would you be surprised, guys?
No.
I'm anticipating it. I'm anticipating it. Still think the best line I had all night was Uncle Fester and Debbie with Jordan and Bill. Could that really be happening? Like, could like Bill be under this like spell? And he's just going along with everything now? Because Fester just wanted love. Nobody wanted, like Bill. Bill's tried love. He had kids. But he cared about his career too much. And then Linda was great. Linda was dressing him nice and, you know. But Linda wasn't enough for him. Beautiful woman. Beautiful. And I hear that she's the squatter in Nantucket. She hasn't left yet. That's at least what I heard.
I'd be Team Linda in this situation. I don't
Team
know.
Linda. Remember she didn't she dress as him for something? No, what did she dress as?
They went as like pirates or something.
There we go.
Right?
Yeah. Anyways, I am Team Linda on this one. Linda loved Bill. Linda was perfect for Bill. Linda was like I almost said MILF. She was like a hottie. Linda like made Bill normal.
She certainly wasn't doing interviews like this.
No. Linda wouldn't have been in the room.
You think he coaches a game for UNC?
Dude, I almost said that earlier, that he hasn't even coached a game. Dude, can they get to August? August 31st, right, is the first game? Can they get to August? What are we, when's May 1st? When is that? This weekend? How many days are in the month of April? Is there a song that could help me remember all the days? Okay, so May 1st is Thursday. May, June, July, August. Can he make it another 3 months? Dude, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Paul's in Hingham. Hey, Paul.
Hey, I wanted to let you know that the reason they were so kind of snippy during the interview, Joe, thanks for your time, is that Bill actually did meet Jordan while he was dating Linda. But I also know why they moved on. I mean, given Linda's age and contract situation, he's better sooner rather than later, right?
I missed that. I didn't hear it.
I love when callers crack themselves up, though.
So that's why, if I missed it, was it funny?
No, but he thought so.
What was it, though? I didn't.
Linda's age and her contract situation. That's why he moved on from her. Because he always, cut a guy too early instead of too late. I'll isolate the laugh for you, though, Joe. Maybe we'll play that when we come back.
I unfortunately missed that, so it wasn't funny, I guess. Did anybody laugh? Let's go to break. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celtics.
It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
And I hope they do, because I don't want to talk about Orlando anymore. What else? The draft, blah, blah, blah. What do you got, Skaz?
I was just going to say, kind of a unique one tomorrow night where we'll be on an hour before the game.
That's right.
It doesn't usually happen.
That's right.
A little extended pregame.
So we get an hour. We'll find some topics to talk about, of course.
Cerrone Battle be with us postgame, I believe.
That's right. I heard Cerrone on this morning with Fred.
I did as well, yes. Cerrone, him and Barth were great yesterday. I listened to that.
I was on after them.
Yeah, I saw you and Paul on YouTube as well. Watch some of that.
Paulie Perillo. I like working with Paul. Peabody guy. We're neighbors. It's funny, every time I go somewhere in Peabody, they say, hey, Paul Perillo comes here. And I said, I heard that. So, I've been thinking about this Bill Belichick thing. I don't know why. Why is this so fascinating?
Because it's bizarre, Joe. It's strange.
Do you think Bill has no one else anymore? And, like, this is now what he's hung on to, and maybe she has nobody else because she's a little tapped, too? And they're just, like, stuck with each other?
Twin Flames, Joe. That's what they call themselves.
Twin Flames.
The Twin Flames.
But, like, does she look in the mirror all day and, like, she's like,
yes.
He's like, you're hot, you're hot, you're hot. And she's like, I'm hot, I'm hot, I'm hot. And then she's just like, you're the best. You're the smartest. You're the greatest ever. You did this. You made Tom Brady. You did that. And they just pump. It's like they just pump each other up all day.
A lot of affirmations in that house, probably.
They're just floating with air because they've been filled with gas by each other so much. I do think she's beautiful. I just don't know if I would give it all up for her. Like, someday we're going to hear from his kids, right?
Yeah, for me, the North Carolina part of it is fascinating. Him wearing the Navy tattered sweatshirt while being the head coach of North Carolina is, I know the Jordan thing is more fascinating, but just from UNC's perspective, like, what are they thinking right now? You handed this guy $10 million? Oh,
Bubba,
yeah. We know he's on the up and up. You know, college football playoff there.
Do you think he's wearing a Navy shirt?
I think he's got to be in that Carolina blue.
Yeah, that's right. You know what? If I had that kind of money, I'd rather just be alone. Like the guys in Breaking Bad who just lay on the money.
I would just love. I would love to see the group text between former Patriots players that had to deal with tough guy Bill, don't talk to the media. Wonder what they're thinking right about now. Wonder what they're saying.
I know.
Yeah, I'm sure they have some takes.
I'm sure they do. So is it Jordan or Jordan?
I believe it's Jordan, but maybe I'm mistaken.
You know, people have been correcting me all night with the way I say everything, but you know what I'm talking about.
Of course.
So why do you correct me?
Doesn't bother me.
Okay, then. I'll say this one more time before we go home. I apologize, but I'm not sorry. Hey, Joe, sound less sick. I apologize, but I'm not sorry. All right. Well, that's it for tonight. Trent, your last night's on Wednesday. You're going to be on the final hour with us. Any take you want, my man. Your show, final hour. The Trent Marlowe Show. Is that what you'd call your show?
Takes with Trent. Trent's takes.
Trent's takes.
Marlowe's musings could be getting that.
Why is her name Jordan? Is there like Jordan?
You're asking questions I just simply don't have the answer to, Joe.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, James Scaramuzzino, Trent Marlowe, and everybody in chat. And by the way, this hour of the sports is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance. This month, visit NoGoodOilChange.com to save 15% off your next drive-thru oil change. And Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. Good night, everybody. We're back tomorrow, 7 o'clock.
More Joe Murray